chilling with Adam, yeah, I'm just chilling with Adam, I'm just chilling with Adam, look, that's the host of Adam, I'm just chilling with Adam.
No Jumper, coolest podcast in the world, and today we're going to be talking about poker. How's it going, mate?
What up, man?
Say your name. I don't want to say it wrong.
Prahlad Friedman.
Prahlad.
A.K.A. Progress. That's my rap name.
So we met from playing poker, which some of my fans maybe saw in live. Do you play at the Bicycle often? It was like a $10,000-ish buy-in game, 5,100.
I play there. I won a tournament there, so I have fond memories of that place. I play whenever there's like some big action.
Right.
I won $1 million tournament there. So
how many people?
It was some hundreds of people for like a 10K buy-in.
Really?
Yeah, it was WPT.
Is that where you do most of your, or what is your poker career as of right now consist of for the most part? Like what games do you play in real life and online?
I'm mainly cash game player. I kind of got bored of the tournaments, so I like to just put up the cash, come and go as you want, and I just like to play. I play. Now at my age, I'm 40 now, I play all the games. I used to only play No Limit. I'm kind of known for playing No Limit online. My name on there was Spirit Rock, Mahatma. I had a number of names on there, and that was No Limit. So that's how I got kind of well known from No Limit. I used to play anybody. Now I play Pot Limit Omaha, Deuce to Seven, Low Ball. I play all the limit games, Raz and Stud and all that stuff.
See, I'm proud to say, or I guess sort of embarrassed to say, that I never learned any game besides Hold'em.
Yeah, shameful. Man, you should expand because like poker's poker, and like now they got short deck and all this like interesting stuff. And if you're good at No Limit, like you can kind of apply that knowledge to like any other game. It's like position, bluffing on certain scare cards. Every game you can kind of bluff or like catch people bluffing. All the games are kind of similar.
From your perspective, do you feel as if the fun part about playing like Deuce to Seven and shit is that it's a different challenge, or is it that the weaker player pool, because it's kind of like a game that's a little bit less understood?
Sometimes you get a lack of action in your particular game, like if you only play No Limit. And then you kind of, just like you with the show, you're talking about, expanding, doing some different interviews. It's kind of the same thing that you need to do, like in poker, I think, to really like, you kind of want to walk in the casino and just say, find someone that's like not as good as you. And that's the first goal. And just kind of say like, what would you like to play? Right. It's great. It's really good business if you can like learn all the games and you can basically accommodate players that want to come and just gamble. You're like, well, like, what's your favorite game? And then you play that game. And it might not be your best game, but you're like studied enough to where you can beat like an amateur or kind of a lesser opponent.
But so from your perspective, it's like, do you enjoy sitting down and playing like that $10,000 buy-in game that we were in the other day against a bunch of other guys who, for the most part, are like pretty good, solid pros? Like, is that still fun to you, or is there a part of you that like wants to just like find juicier games, or is that so hard these days to find? Like,
yeah, nowadays, like if a lot of my career, I made money just off pros.
Really?
Like, yeah, really. Like, it's not always like a great game where there's a guy just giving away money. I've like been in those positions before, and it's kind of like, it's amazing and it's really lucky. But a lot of times you're like butting heads with pros, and you gotta kind of be the cream of the crop.
Right.
You know what I mean? You gotta be the best pro, and that's how I've always looked at it. I kind of transferred over like my love for basketball into like a love for like poker, and so I just went hard as I used to go on the court. Right. And just like read every book and study everything I can, and like stare at my opponents and like look at everything on them, and just like, and do that for like hours and hours every day, weeks, months, years. And just like, I've been doing it for like 20 years.
20 years. And are you still like super in love with it?
Like when I'm winning, it seems kind of stupid. I should be like mentally like all zenned out. I grew up meditating and whatnot.
You seem very zen. That was one of the things I found like interesting about you.
I try to be. I mean, like if you're playing poker and you're playing 100K pots and whatnot, and just in life in general, it's good to kind of not be too high or too low, because like bad shit happens to everybody. People die.
Right.
But like if you get too crazy low and too crazy high, it's just like such a roller coaster, and it's just like hard on your mental and spiritual and physical everything.
That was the thing that I had such a hard time with in poker, is that like the downswings and stuff. And I just felt like at a certain point I was like, I'm not like mathematically inclined, and I don't feel like I'm maybe like cut out to deal with all this like, emotional turmoil that I'm going through, losing all my money and shit. Not that I ever took like downswings. I was always like pretty well rolled. Like I was like managed my funds pretty well, but I mean, it was still a lot of nights that were just brutal as fuck. And I just was like, why am I putting myself through this?
Professionals that people see on TV that are the top players, and they say, oh, they've made 30 million in tournaments, 20 million, 40 million. A lot of those guys, man, they take their downswings. You know what I mean? And it's just like, it's hard mentally, really. That's why it's good. A lot of the new poker players are eating well, more vegetarian, vegan type of stuff, or like they're working out all the time, getting personal trainers.
Well, I just see the value in that at a certain point. Huh?
And they're meditating and doing yoga, and they're putting that into like poker, and it's really helping them, because it is tough mentally. Like you only win about 55% of the time if you're like one of the best. Honestly,
right.
Like I've kept track of my stuff for a while. And it was like I was winning like I did pretty well, but I won 55% of the time or something. So 45% of the time you're going back to your girl like with your head down. You're just like, damn. And she's like, I made some food, and you're like, oh yeah, that's cool. You don't even want to eat.
But do you still get that feeling? You still get kind of crushed?
I do. It's just like a sport or anything. Like when you lose, like, if you're LeBron or whoever, like you've won so many championships, you've won games, but just. It might even be a regular season game, but you lose and you're just kind of like, it's just the competitive nature I have, I think. And it's just like, I've been doing it for so long, but when you lose, it's rough. And then you think like, could I have done anything better? Played any differently? And it's tough when you like, it directly correlates to like putting food on the table and like a roof over your head. It's like a lot of pressure. And when money gets low and you're living in LA, and it's like, you gotta, and especially if you like a nice lifestyle, you're eating at Crossroads and shit. You know what I mean?
Is Crossroads expensive?
It is. It is. Yeah, but it's very good. Everyone should eat there.
I haven't been there yet.
Shout out to Travis Barker.
Yeah, Travis told me that he's like, it's on me if you want to bring your girl there. I'm like, so what am I supposed to do? I'm supposed to like show this text to the waitress, or I could like call ahead, I guess. I
know that's rough. Like
I'll probably just pay. Rather than like deal with that awkwardness of being like, here, save me $80, but look at this text.
I feel like that happens a lot. Like in Hollywood, some very well known person will be like, "Man, I got you. I'll get you a new computer. I got hookups, this and that." And then, but are you really gonna be texting them like, "Okay, I want the computer now"? Right. They kind of, it's just like they can get you everything, but it's kind of like you don't know if you want to follow up on it. It's just kind of like they kind of just smooth you over with that.
But that's why you need to meet the team. That's one thing I've realized, is that it's like it's good to know the rapper or whatever, but if you can make strong connections with their team, then
you can communicate. The lines are open, though.
Right? Because at the end of the day, it's like, are you really gonna? You're not gonna talk to Lil Pump about booking him for a show. Yeah. He doesn't want to have a conversation. He doesn't give a fuck. There's people on his team that are supposed to do that, so you have to like think about it that way. Like, who is the person in this clique that I'm gonna like be able to sort of? And it's easier to make people who are just like part of the team like you. They're more likely to be appreciative of your time and stuff, rather than like dealing with the actual artist who like probably doesn't give a shit.
Look how you think about things. It's just like a poker player, you know what I mean? See? It's like you're just applying like, that nerdy shit that actually, I think every like musical artist is kind of a nerd, you know what I mean? Like music is kind of nerdy. Like everyone tries to be swaggy and they got the moves and the dances and the lyrics and the beats, but it's kind of a nerdy thing because it's like a math problem. You gotta like, there's like a formula to like getting popular or like the new dope songs or whatever. And like, you gotta kind of figure it out in a nerdy way, I think.
Yeah. You have to like be willing to sit back and like be able to make the proper decisions or plays in terms of like what music and when. And a lot of times with the dudes who are around for a long time, like it's one thing to come out for like a year or two and you're just the cool new kid on the block and you just, you got the cool hair and the cool style and everybody thinks you're great or whatever. But it's like, if you're going to be around for, 5-6 years, a long time in the rap game, to be popular for 5-6 years, shit, like you got to like actually care enough about the game to like monitor what's going on and be able to honestly view how you fit into the landscape and like what your value proposition is to the audience.
Yeah, you got to see your demographic or whoever's like feeling you and like maybe even go with that. Or yeah, it's like, and then sometimes you got to try new shit. It's just like poker. You might try like certain games not going that well. Maybe I'll try another game with these other guys. It's just like music. It's like, it's so many things in life are very similar, you know? And just like, you know, analyzing it from the outside, it's like it's easier to kind of just sit back and like a quarterback or something and just like see what you need to do in any business or any like your business, my business, anything.
So okay, when did you actually start playing poker and how'd you get interested in it?
Way back, like when I was a young man. I'm 40 right now, but I was maybe like 18 and my dad won a tournament for 11,000. And back then, you know, inflation, 11,000 was more than it is today. And I was just like, what, Dad? What the? And so I was like, why don't you like tell me like what it is, like how did you do this? Like, and so he actually won the tournament in deuce to 7, which I'm actually really good at now. Right. But at the time, he just decided to teach me like no limit or limit. It was like limit hold'em. So it was like, you know, everyone gets 2 cards and the bets are like limited. It's not all.
I used to when I played online, I was largely playing limit when I started, which is odd. Like I was playing like 5, 10, 10, 20 limit.
Yeah, I mean, nowadays people just start straight off on no limit, but like number of years ago, yeah, limit was kind of like the first, like the entry level game, and you kind of like learn that one, and then people kind of discovered no limit.
I mean, no limit is just like it's stressful to me, the idea that like everything could go in on every hand.
I know, and then like when someone's just staring you down, right, and they're just looking to see any nervousness, and then like if you fake something, if you kind of like make yourself look nervous, a lot of pros will pick up on that and they'll fold. Like, you know what I mean? So it's like such a art with like, usually you just want to go straight poker face, because if you try to act, the really smart players will know when you're trying to act and when you're not, and they're just very good at reading like body language and like if people are doing shit on purpose or not.
Do you think that like staying like really, really stoic is usually the best? How do you feel about the glasses and the art dude?
I mean,
does this every time?
I think if you're gonna go ideal, like if you're just trying to have the most edge possible, you should probably be with shades, a scarf, like cover up,
suit of armor,
just like have no skin showing. Honestly, that would probably be the best. But is it good for poker? Is it good for the social aspect of poker? A lot of how like professionals make their money is like. When like players want to have fun, like they worked all day, they're a doctor, a lawyer, or an actor or something, like, and they just want to go have fun. And so if you're just like all like shaded up and just like every bet like this, that's kind of like, they're just like, wow, I'm playing a robot. Is this that fun? Do I want to come every week and like lose to this guy that's like the nerdiest robot? So sometimes you got to take everything off and just like have fun, and just like bet and be a little bit social. Like, so sometimes there's a social element to it, and then other times if you're facing all pros and like you're like, I don't need to be social, like fuck these guys, right? Then you might want to just like suit up and just be like, fuck y'all.
I noticed that when we were playing, that it sort of felt like, you know, because even from my perspective as like a non-pro, as a person who's just sort of having fun with it, it's kind of like, you know, I'm sort of doing it because I find the social aspect interesting. And like, yeah, I do want to sort of like just test to see like how comfortable I feel playing poker at this point in my life, given that it's been so long since it was like a regular part of my life. But then we would sort of get to the point where like nobody was talking and it felt like everybody was just sort of like, you know, everybody playing like really, really tight. It's just sort of like gets boring at a certain point. So I totally get that. Like, people want to go to Vegas and just blow money by like hanging out with a bunch of ridiculous characters at the table.
They want to tell jokes. Like they want to like get a drink, get some shots. Like let's flip to see who pays for the wine, or like let's play some fun game, 7 deuce game or whatever. Like they want to have fun. So like if you're sitting there just like in kill mode, you can kill off the prey too much. Right. Probably if you're a lion and you just kill the whole family, and you don't have food later. Right. Let them procreate, and then you'll have food for you.
It's so weird to me, though, because it's like now that poker doesn't really, like, determine my, like, you know, financial status, it's, like, it's so much easier for me to play and not give a fuck when I lose, whereas, like, when it used to be...
life's in it.
It used to be such an ingrained part of how I viewed myself. you know? And like just seeing that, like, also I feel like I spent so much goddamn time in my poker tracker when I played that it was like I was constantly thinking of things in the long term, which is good. But like, you know, constantly thinking about like how many big blinds per 100 hands or whatever you have is like when I played that session with you guys the other day, it was almost a weird feeling to think like, okay, I won some money and I'm not probably going to play again for like, you know, at least a couple weeks or a month or whatever. And it's like, I'm not going to think about the long term because it's like playing in real life. I'm not even going to hit the long term for years and years playing at this rate.
Yeah.
So why even think about it like that?
Yeah. You don't even need to be like perfectly balanced or anything in certain spots, whatever. You know, you're just going to play and then you're going to go back to interviewing and shit.
But then that's the weird thing too, though, is I was thinking about it. I'm like, you know, because when we played that game, I made 20 racks, which was clearly like more than I make on an average day making YouTube stuff or doing streams or whatever. But like, it's such a different feeling knowing that every single time I make a YouTube video, well, I can't say that it's reliable how much money I'll make from it, but it's more reliable than poker. It's reliable that it's at least going to earn something.
Yeah. Poker is like, to succeed in poker for everyone out there that's like, ooh, maybe I can win like 100K pots and like, you know, fucking ball out. That shit ain't easy. And like, you know, a lot of kids are dropping out trying to do it. And like, it's tough. It's really tough because like I've been doing it for so long and like a lot of people see me as like, you know, a world-class player. And, you know, there's still times where I question myself, question like everything I'm doing and like, should I be playing poker or like, you know, am I good enough? Like sometimes you play some tough players, they make some good plays and you make some mistakes and you're like, man, maybe poker is passing me up and everything. But you know what that is? That's just your mind just racing and just like, you know what I mean? Just like thinking negative thoughts and like, that's not being zenned out, you know, that's not a meditative state. So then you kind of like, sometimes it might just take you winning a couple sessions and, you know, it's kind of fucked up, but you win a few sessions and then you kind of snap back and you're like, okay, I'm a beast again.
I mean, it's your brain's job to try to like identify patterns.
Yeah.
And like your brain is working with a very small sample size. Like during that time that you're at the table or whatever, you can't ignore the fact that the money is disappearing in front of you or whatever. So it's of course your brain's going to try to do that. And that's one thing that like in poker, I feel like I always had an issue with is just like constantly trying to retrain your brain to think about things in a way that is not natural to your brain in a way.
Yeah.
Don't take those losses personally.
You're not supposed to just go out and lose all your money, but that's like poker players do it all the time. When I was young, I would sit with all my money.
Really?
Sometimes. Yeah, you just like, it's a sickness, honestly. It's like a gambling problem almost, like it really is. But you also kind of get this fearlessness from doing crazy shit like that. And a lot of the top players could probably describe kind of fucking up in their life and in financially, but in the long term, it might have made them kind of a beast, like as far as poker goes. Like sometimes you want to make a bluff for like 50,000 or 30,000 and, you know it's risky, but you just know it's the right chess move, you know? And so if you're kind of a beast, if you've kind of went through that being young and going broke a number of times, you kind of start to lose the value of money in a way. And you look at money more like, you know, chess pieces or whatever.
Right.
And you really just will pull the trigger. If you're really like a world-class player, will usually just like pull the trigger if they think like they'll just bluff you, like if they think it's the right play. They won't just be like, man, I'm gonna lose like this money. I need this money or whatever. Right.
No, yeah, I think about that a lot too, because it's like, if you like, all right, when I was playing poker a lot, I remember like, you know, my uncle gave me like, you know, like $400 for like Christmas, and it's like, you know, oh, thank you so much. It was like a lot more than my like this uncle would ever like normally have given me. I was like all happy, but then at the same time, I'm thinking, you know, it's like 4 big blinds, and that's like a weird way, like, because you just think about how easily you lose $400.
Yeah.
Like, you know, $400 is one lap around the table. It's like one fucking little min raise before the, you know, it's like that.
You can get obsessed with thinking of like a lot of poker players are like, okay, I'm chilling right now, smoking weed. In this last hour, I could have made 200. I'm looking at my stats. I make 200 at an hour in this game that's going on. And they get obsessed with like when they're not working, what they're missing out on. And I'm sure like artists, I'm sure everyone does that in every type of field. Like, you know what I mean? When you find something that is somewhat printing money, maybe not at a crazy rapid pace, but you're kind of just like, it seems pretty consistent. Then when you're not kind of on the grind, sometimes you think, okay, how much? I could have made this, I could have made that. And then like poker players, they get obsessed with it and they start hiring everyone to tie their shoes and do everything for them because they're just like, I can't waste that time. I'm gonna be winning in poker.
Right.
But I think sometimes you just gotta you gotta be a real human.
Yeah.
Sometimes you gotta do your own dishes and just that's what I think.
No, I agree with that too, because and that is sometimes I will sit on this fucking stream for like 12 hours sometimes playing kids music and doing interviews. I'll do like a 12-hour stream. I'll do 3 interviews and like the other 6 hours out of it I'll be fucking listening to their music nonstop, and then I'll leave and I'll have this number in my head like, this is how much money I just made, plus I did 3 interviews. I'm gonna put those interviews out, and those are gonna it's like I'm really really like feeling myself, thinking about how much money I made. Everything that's going on in my brain is just 100% just focused on my own ego, how much I got done. And it does make me feel kind of good to get home and my girlfriend's already asleep because it's 3 a.m, but I see the fucking dishes and I'm like, I'm doing the dishes and I'm not gonna fucking watch anything on TV while I do it. I'm just gonna stand here for 20 minutes doing the dishes, and that like helps to detach me from because it's like when you do stuff like this, it's all about you. It's all about promoting yourself. It's all about how popular you are, how much people want to listen to you talk. And it's just so easy to get like wrapped up in your own ego.
I bet, man. And then so sometimes you got to just like humble yourself and just, clean up the bathroom or the toilet. Right. And be like, honey, the toilet's nice. It's whatever. Right. Just like be a real human, like go ahead, like ride coach. It's okay. You know what I mean? Like and talk to the people or whatever. Like, you know what I mean? If you get too crazy into like your world and that you're the man or whatever, you're the woman, and I just think you can get too wrapped up in it. And as we see a lot of people when they make a lot of money, like, some people like they take their own life or like, like they're not happy necessarily just because they have money. So I think we always got to remember, like, don't go too crazy after money. Remember to be happy. And sometimes if you think about your life and you think about those times where you were kind of broke, you're like, damn, I was kicking it. That was fun. Like we had like people would throw $5 down on some weed or whatever. We were at the park playing ball.
Right.
And like, I'm trying to remember, like I was pretty fucking happy. You know what I mean? And then you think, oh, that time that I was really balling and we were like going to the club and getting bottle service and just like kicking it with celebrities and everything's like, oh shit, this is dope. Like, and then you compare those two happinesses. You think like, it kind of makes you think, like, is it that much better when you're balling out than when you were like on the struggle or you know what I mean?
Yeah, like I feel a lot more secure now and everything than I used to, but like I spent like the first like 10, 20 years of my life just riding BMX. When I really think about it, it's like we were just going out and just like doing tricks, sitting around, fucking smoking, chilling, doing whatever. And it's like that was such a simple way of life, but it's also some of the times that I look back on as like the best times of my life. And like I went out yesterday, we did this big ride. So there's like 100 kids or 200 kids that came out and we all went riding together. It was tight, but it's also like it's reminding me like the reason why this is hard for me to do now is because my brain is so preoccupied with what I could be doing at all the times. And I just feel like I have this like big thing that I'm working on and everything. And it's just sort of like, I look back on those times when I basically had nothing and it's like, was I that much happier or am I that much happier now? I don't I'm more secure, I'm more like acknowledged, I have more like physical things like they've come from it and stuff, but at the same time I don't know, like if I was in a different mentality, like I don't have like a nice car, I don't like do the jewelry thing. Those things are really important to me because it's like I feel like I'm gonna fucking just destroy my mind if I do those things, Maybe the car thing. It's a
slippery slope. Like when you go crazy on something nice, like sometimes you just like, oh, I'm gonna get something else nice, or like you can get carried away in life. Yeah, it's just important to just be like content. I think, like especially if you got it good, and just to be content, be like, man, I'm doing good, and just remember that there's other people that are balling out and they got everything and they got yachts and they got all this stuff, but like. They're not necessarily happier than you are, But what really makes you happy, man, in life? Having a kid, man. I just had a kid, 3 months old.
First kid?
You don't have kids?
No, but I have nephews. I'm obsessed with it. Just moved here.
Just pure joy, man. And they don't know about Trump, you know what I mean? They don't know about the crazy shit, They don't know about people ODing and like being depressed. Like they look up at you and they just laughing and smiling, and you're just like, man. Really makes you happy too. It's like contagious, their happiness is just like, man, that's pretty amazing.
That's a crazy
You want to have
feeling.
kids one day?
Yeah, I'm down. Probably eventually.
You're like, yeah, we'll see what's up.
Yeah, we'll see what happens. We'll see how many times the condom has to break before one pops through. You know. No, but I don't know. Yeah, that it's such a crazy feeling when I'm like hanging out with my nephews because it's like they know like 10 people, like they know like 20 people maybe on Earth, like all their uncles and everything, and just like the space that you're able to like occupy in their mind where they think you're so funny, so great.
Yeah,
I don't know anything else. It's just like such a great feeling.
Everything around them is all like, you know, mostly positive because everyone just like, hey, give me a hug. Like, you know, a lot of times like with the kids and yeah, their world is just like sometimes you gotta miss that as an adult. Just that, just pure positivity, just all around you. And like, you know, some people didn't grow up like that. Let's
Yeah,
for
true,
sure.
yeah.
They didn't have all that. You know what I mean? So some people are probably watching and be like, fuck, I wish I grew up with all positive shit. But like, you know what I mean? That's the ideal though for a kid. If you're raising kids, like it should be all positive around them as much as you can.
Yeah, to try to like shield them from all the negative stuff that you know is possible is like, but does that feel kind of overwhelming? Because you know that like there's going to come a time
they're going to be like at a party and someone's going to be like, let's get fucked up.
Let's do heroin. What's up? And
then,
you're not going to be there. That's such a scary idea, right?
And you're thinking, my little girl. Oh my God. Yeah, that'll be something.
But does that freak you out when you think about like just the fact that you're not going to be able to control what happens to them later in life?
I guess I just got to feel like I didn't go that route of like hard drugs and going too crazy with that. So like, you know, and neither did my wife. So then I just feel like that's a good start.
Right.
That's a pretty good start. And then we can kind of like impart that on her that like, you know, you can have a good time. And like, we're, you know, once she's a certain age, we're not, you know, we like weed, we smoke weed. Like once she's like 21, whatever, she can smoke weed or whatever. We're not against that. But like, I don't even think alcohol is that good. You know, I'm not going to really want to drink that much around her. I feel like, but like, yeah, you just got to hope, man. That's really all you got to do.
I got
and
so
try your
lucky.
best.
My parents never like, I seen my dad have like a Corona like a few times as a kid, but like I'm pretty sure he was going through maybe like 5 beers in a year or something like that. And like I just when I think back on that, I'm like, God, I was so shielded from what like alcoholism and all that stuff is like. You know, I don't have that thing in my brain where I was constantly smelling cigarette smoke as a kid, and that like sort of leads to you becoming addicted over time, I think.
Oh yeah, blessings, right?
Yeah.
I mean, people that go through all that, I mean, they just like have such a upstream like battle.
Right.
You know what I mean? And man, I feel bad. I feel bad for people that have rough childhoods. I mean, got to be a father to your child, be a mother to your child. All that is very important because then people grow up like super fucked up.
I can't help but think that like a lot of people who have kids should not have kids. And that's just like, I don't know. Like, I feel like if you're not financially stable, if you are still like partying, if you're still fucked up on drugs, whatever, it's just like, God, just don't have a fucking kid. You're going to make it impossible for you to get out of the financial pit that you're in. And you're also just like, it's just like cruel to the kid, right?
Oh, yeah. I mean, fuck, I just got sidetracked.
Yeah, no, you got
weed, and I gotta get that out.
The notifications, they're taking you out of your Zen state.
I was like in the zone.
I'm pretty sure Joe Rogan like confiscates everybody's phones before they start.
Yeah, I should have got it confiscated a long time ago, probably.
No, that's okay. But I mean, that's kind of like one thing I think about though. I'm pretty sure Joe Rogan doesn't let anybody else, like no publicists in the room or anything, and like no phones. That's like
this is dope. Yeah, right now it's just me and you and the mics and all the people out there, and it's dope.
That's cool, right?
But
just
like
this open communication.
Our main point though was, man, love the kids, right?
Treat
love
the kids good, yeah. Don't bring along your fucking baggage into their like. Obviously, it's inevitable that your baggage is coming along with you, but like, I don't know.
But those women shouldn't have got 45 years though. That was crazy.
Who?
These women posted on Facebook smoking weed with their kids, and the kids were like professionals. They were like 1 year old doing the French inhale. They were like doing it.
Oh, I do remember that. But the woman got 45 years?
45 years. Now, that's fucked up, and like, you know, obviously I'm against it. Don't get me wrong. I think it's just ridiculous.
45 years?
They're too young, but it's like people beat their kids. Did they get 45 years?
Yeah.
I mean,
but there's like serial rapists and shit.
So if you
that
beat your kids or kids get molested, like, are they really getting 45 years? And then, I mean, and of course they're black. It's like black women. It's fucking It's stupid.
Wow, I didn't know about that.
45 years. They're trying to make an example or something. It's just like, obviously, I mean, that's crazy. Like, don't do that to your kids. And obviously, like, it was crazy. Like, why would they post it on Facebook and all that shit? But like 45 years, bro.
40. I'm still in total awe
That's
of that
just
number.
like never see your kids again. Like, and
Because
like,
you let them smoke weed, yeah. Which is, I mean, that is super crazy. Who the fuck lets a little kid smoke weed like that?
no, no doubt it's ridiculous, like what they did.
But I was interviewing Rico Reckless, and he's sitting here and he's smoking these giant backwoods in front of his fucking 8-year-old, and it's just, you know, I understand how it could be considered offensive, but this guy does it all the fucking time, and he doesn't even think anything of it. So it's kind of by the end of the interview, I'm like, well, I guess I don't care either, because you clearly don't give a shit.
Yeah, I know. It's hard with parents, right? If you speak up, it's like, man, they might want to fight you. Parents be out here wanting to fight because, like, you're gonna tell me how to raise my kid. You know, it's like, it's personal when someone tries to mess with like the way you're raising your kid. Man, people really get upset.
Yeah,
they do.
Man, we just went off on the child rearing conversation, pretty hardcore. All right, wait. So,
it's chill.
Did you ever lose your whole role when you were first starting out playing poker or whatever?
Definitely, man.
Many times, and what you have to work it back up.
Man, or sometimes you gotta, like, you know, hope your reputation is good enough, like people trust you enough where you can find someone to like give you money to play, and then you'll chop it up or whatever.
So you had to do that? You got staked?
I've done that. I've done that many times. I mean, playing poker for 20 years, I wish I could say that I never went broke and I was like super smart, but like I got some fire in me. You know what I mean? I'll bluff. You know what I mean? I don't know. I've done some stupid things and made some bad investments in my life, and you know, played in some games that were too big for me.
Right.
As many people could probably say. But I have talked to some poker players, and they're like, I've never been broke in 10 years or in 15 years. I'm like, damn, you're a beast. Like, obviously that's the way you want to go. But me, no, there were some times where a game just looked so good, and I just knew I was the best player on the table. So I was like, man, I got to risk it because it's like such a good game. You know what I mean?
Right.
And like, if I lose this money, I'll get money or whatever. When you become a top player in the poker world, you know that if you lose all your money, you'll get money, kind of. And so sometimes that makes you kind of fire your own bankroll a little bit too hard because you feel like you have a backup plan. You feel like you can get someone to give you money, you know, because when people see you as a top player, they like, sometimes they want to invest in you, especially if you've like kind of had if you have a track record of winning people money,
right? You
can usually just like go back to those same people that you did business with or find someone new. You usually can do it.
Right. Do you, so were you real heavy online, like as soon as it started happening, where you were already playing for a while, like when the online revolution started?
Yeah, I mean, I played like in the early online days when it was like Limit Hold'em and it was like Paradise Poker and Planet Poker and like all these funky sites. And I was on there grinding a little bit and like, honing my game in, like getting it better and better. And, No Limit really like was a savior to me, you know what I mean? Like once No Limit came to online, I just like the first day I played, maybe it was like a 5-10 or something. I think I made like 18,000 on a 5-10 table.
Wow.
And I was just like, this is sick. Like, and it just even seemed easier to bluff, you know what I mean? Because, like, when you're playing live, like, you know, sometimes you got to, like, sit there and they stare at you for fucking 10 minutes. Where online, I used to just be like, fuck this. I'd slide it over. I'm all in. And then I would, like, close out the screen, you know?
Right.
And I didn't want to see it. I don't want to see it, like, blinking on their little character if they're going to call or not or whatever. I would just, like, hide the window and just, like, usually when it's, like, time for you to play the next hand, it'll just pop up or whatever. But it just, like, for a while, like, bluffing, you could bluff like very profitably at the beginning of online. I used to overbet and bluff the shit out of people. The pot would be 1,000, I would bet 4 or 5K. Like people never used to do that. Like the first guy I saw do that was Huckleberry Seed, a good friend of mine. He won the World Series of Poker in 1997. 6'7" dude, a hell of a guy. He's super cool. But he was the first one that overbet. The pot was like 500. The flop was queen, 4 or whatever. And the pot's 500. So normally people like you bet between, 200 and 500. Or that's kind of like normal little bets or whatever. And then I saw him bet 2,000. He bet 4 times the pot. And I'd never really seen anyone do that. So I was like, man, this dude. And he was like already kind of a hero of mine. Like I read about him in like Card Player Magazine or Bluff or some magazine. There was a whole article about him and like how he's this like genius. And so then I got to meet him and we became good friends, and he like helped me like the beginning of my career. And like, so I'm learning from one of the best players in the world, and it was just amazing. And I got to see some like unorthodox plays he would make. He liked to get creative and do like some things that other people weren't doing. And so I kind of added that to my game, and like I really pushed it to the next level. I started over betting just like constantly. Like I would like the pot would be 5,000, and I would check raise to like 40K or 50K, or I would like the pot would be like 3K, and I would bet out 20K in a ring game. Bet out like a crazy bet, and sometimes I would have like a set, and sometimes I would have like a flush draw or like some kind of, you know, bluff or whatever. So I was just able to like balance it, and like it was just like people would pay me off in spots. Like I was able to time it well, like when to do the overbet. I had a good sense of like when they're gonna fold and when they're gonna call, and they just really didn't know how to treat it. But nowadays these young guys, like they're better at dealing with overbets. So it's like the game has changed.
Right. Yeah. I feel like the game has just gotten so much tougher online in particular, where just like the science of it. Like when I stopped playing around like 2007, 2008, I had already like just felt it so much. Like, damn, I've been doing this for 3-4 years, and the games have gotten so much fucking tighter, or just so much better. But then, well, I feel like at that time it was like the games just getting tighter. Now it feels like the games are like, if anything, they're like really just like aggressive as fuck.
Yeah, people are really aggressive. They're, you know, the like solvers. People are studying solvers now to like give you the perfect play.
Really?
Like, yeah, they just get like a program, and they study on a computer, and it tells them the perfect play in every situation. And so they just study that for hours, and then they go and they play kind of like a robot. They kind of like play exactly how like what they think the computer would do. You know what I mean? And then they also try to be like with no tells and like doing this. So it's like in this day and age in poker, it's gotten a little bit tougher because it's like robots are being developed, basically human robots. You know what I mean? Like honestly, and they're using like calculus, game theory, and solvers, computer solvers.
I definitely have no business getting back into this shit.
But like honestly, if you just find like a good game with like people having fun, like you don't have to worry about all this shit.
Right.
This is all like really nerdy shit that the pros kind of get into to like hone their game and get better. But no matter what, you got to find a game that's like, you know, you can't just play everyone else that's studying the computer as well, and then you guys are gonna like flip coins. Maybe one guy will win a little extra, but to succeed in poker, you have to find a pretty good game.
Right.
So if you're kind of good like at meeting people and talking to people and like getting connections, or like, you know, learning about games, asking or whatever. Sometimes you can find a good game, but other times you have like these dry spells. Like right now, I haven't had that much action. There hasn't been that much action as of late. No, I don't really play online, but just like at Commerce Casino, or like, you know, that's where I play mainly. But there's been a little less action recently there, so I've just been like spending more time with the baby, which is all good.
Yeah. That must make it weird, huh? Thinking about putting in a 10-hour session when you could be hanging out with the kid.
Oh yeah, definitely. And just hearing the laugh and the smile, and like, you know, you don't want to miss like the first words and all that stuff. But, you know, but then sometimes you think, you know, I gotta put food on the table, and like we like to eat organic, and we got organic diapers and organic baby clothes, and you know what I mean? And just living in LA, man, like, you know, I mean, you could think you're chilling, not spending that much, and you'd be like, okay, this is how much I have. Didn't I have this much? Like a while back. Damn. Oh shit. Oh, okay. That's what we're doing. Okay. Back to work.
But it's weird how once you have money, all of a sudden, like, just have how much money you have to have money all of a sudden starts changing. I seen this girl bragging about making $100,000 a year on the timeline the other day. I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about? $100,000 is like sustenance level in LA.
Yeah, LA's expensive. I mean, damn.
You probably are not gonna, like, if you're making $100,000 a year and you live in LA, it's like, this is like, my rent is fucking $4,500 a month, and I think that's cheap. Yeah. So let's just start there.
Exactly.
I mean, that's me and my girlfriend.
And in inflation, man, it's just, you got to make more and more and more. I mean, you know what I mean? That's what it is. So it's like, I guess like when we want to enjoy this nice weather like we do, I guess we can chill for a while, but we usually got to get back to some kind of grind, unless you get the big cheese.
Do you play home games ever?
I kind of stopped playing them. I used to play them, and I had some pretty like interesting experiences and
sketchy shit or what?
Nah, it wasn't too bad. It was actually, I had some fun doing it, but like, I just decided to stop it just because, like, you know what I mean? I just felt like the casino is just better for me for a number of reasons. Like, it's just, you can just go in there and just like, you know, if you win, you can get your money just that day. Usually when you go in the private games, usually there's a little wait. You know what I mean? So I just figured, but it was fun for a while. Got to play with some celebrities and shit.
Is there a strong scene for that?
Some interesting people you get to play with.
In LA, is there a strong scene for like the home game thing?
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of home games, definitely. And, you know, if there weren't any home games, there'd be probably a lot of action at like the legal places. But, you know, it is what it is. I mean, people want to play, like, you know, they want to turn the music up. They want to like have some people to massage you, or they want to have a private chef, or they want to do all that stuff. And so, you know, they decide to go that route or whatever.
That does sound kind of nice. It also sounds really annoying. Like when you talk about the loud music and everything, I'm like, God, I'd be pissed off if I was playing some.
Well, the one I was playing on, at least they were playing like some hip hop or whatever. So
Okay.
it wasn't too bad.
Oh, you want to go to the country and western fucking home
Doing
game?
that move. You do that move, you got that move.
You're talking about the Block Boy JB, the shoot dance thing?
Kick,
Yeah.
lean back and do the kick.
Personally, haven't really tried it.
You got to develop it in private,
You do, I think.
like
That's
in the
a fact,
mirror,
yeah.
and then when you bring it out, you feel like it's somewhat. You're like, it's somewhat decent.
Because sometimes I'll see like white people bust it out, and I'm like, man, that's so weird to think that I know you've been working on that. Because there's no way that you just did that like that
Yeah.
good just to start. Yeah.
So maybe that's just like too much for you. You don't want people to know that you were like working on it.
There's that. I mean, to me, it's just kind of like, okay, it's about knowing my place. I'm a 34-year-old white guy, pretty influential in hip hop at this point, pretty involved in the rap shit. There's a lot of rapper stuff that I could do.
You don't have to do the dance.
I always try to think, like, do I want to take this leap? Like, for instance, rappers love guns. I don't like taking pictures with guns. That's just, I'm not going to do it.
I
It's just
saw
putting
that
myself
recently.
in a
You had
different
a
category.
picture with a guy that had a gun, and you were like, "What happened?" You said, "I'm not going to do any more gun pics or something."
I forget.
While I'm brushing my teeth or something.
Oh, that was just like an old photo of me and this rapper Warhol.
Because you got some heat, right? Some haters, or somebody was saying like something.
Well,
right?
there's this like
And you were
deranged old rapper named Space Goes Perp, and he like basically took this picture of me brushing my teeth with my homie who was holding a gun, and he just wrote like, Adam used to be the dude that was getting tossed around in the trap house. Everybody was fucking this guy.
I saw that. I saw that. Yeah,
I thought it was so funny because I really was brushing my teeth, and my homie was like, "Yo, let's get a flick."
Oh yeah, and then you
it
turned
did look
into
weird.
a meme.
Yeah, but I'm okay with that. No, but I just feel like
Right. Sharing is caring.
rappers love spending money on clothes. I'm not trying to like get on that thing of like having to like buy nice clothes and stuff to keep up. I'm trying to avoid that. I'm trying to
I
avoid
know
like
you're
the chain
You're
thing.
right here. Like you could be like all Gucci'd up and whatever.
What's the point?
Yeah, you probably just get jacked anyway. Eventually.
I mean, to me, it's like I make shirts. I know how much it costs to make a shirt. It makes more sense for me to promote stuff that I own, or like this is like my friend's fucking shirt that he sells. To me, I think I look cooler wearing like some random shirt that my friend made than spending $500 on a Gucci t-shirt. Like I don't really know where that gets me. I think it's cooler to wear like some old band shirt or some dude who has a clothing line that I know, or
That's cool, man.
to me.
Yeah. I mean, they charge like crazy prices.
I just can't wrap my head around that. It's one thing, maybe like a jacket, like expensive jackets or jeans.
Would you get the colorful ass one?
To be honest, I bought one.
They're all colorful, the Gucci ones, huh? Almost.
I bought a Gucci jacket one time for like $2,000 or some shit, and then like I just seen a bunch of nerds wearing it, and it made me never want to do it
You were
again.
like, you stepped.
No, but it was just over the course of the next couple weeks or months where I just and the worst part about it. Shout out to my boy J. Cole. J. Cole wore this jacket in a video where he was basically making fun of rappers, like making fun of all the sort of cliches of like modern day like SoundCloud rapper type thing.
Yeah.
And he chose to wear the exact Gucci jacket that I had bought. And I'm sure he didn't know. But yeah, that just made me like, is this cool? Like if J. Cole doesn't think it's cool, then maybe I should take a second and reevaluate.
I mean, it's pretty popular, right? So it's like, fuck, if you rock Gucci, you're going to run into
Well, that's the other problem.
You're gonna
It's
run
just
into
too
other
popular.
Gucci people. Yeah, you're just like, and then you both look at it. You gotta flip a coin, I think. And you can't both.
We can't both be
can't
in here.
both be at the party.
Right. I saw a guy wearing this all Gucci like sweatsuit yesterday at the party, and I was just like, he was looking at me like clearly like knew who I was or whatever, and I was just thinking like, you look like a fucking bozo to me. Like I know like. It just doesn't. If you're walking around in this fucking costume trying to convince everybody of how important you are, I don't know.
My wife, she likes Gucci. Shout out to Ida.
Well, my girl likes the purses too, and I approve of that. I don't want a girl with no bum ass purse. For some reason, it totally flips to me when it's a girl.
Yeah.
Girls and nice things is cool by me.
Yeah, because it maybe makes them happier than it makes you. And so you just want to bring them happiness. So you're like, fuck, if you like it, that's dope. You
Right.
know what I mean?
I see that she likes it, that she feels
Because
cool.
women do the same thing for us. They'll be like, you like it? You know, in their mind, they're like, I don't give a shit about this fucking whatever. But then they're like, they support you on some shit. So it's like, it goes both ways, right?
I feel like I worked my whole life.
The lights.
Yeah, what happened to the light there? I don't know.
Cool.
Oh yeah, that one went out. Oh, that's interesting. I feel like I worked my whole life to try to like get to a point where I would have respect based on what I've done, so I wouldn't have to go out and buy a bunch of stupid status symbols. That's how I always felt about people buying cars when I was like 16, 17. All these kids just like working, making $200 a week at the fucking KFC, and then they're spending it on like spoilers for their Civic. I was like, God, I never want to be like that.
Yeah, I used to rock just what I used to have like money, and I would just rock whatever car, you know, like because I kind of felt a similar viewpoint on life. Like you don't need to be crazy flashy, like you know what I mean. Like even if you got the money, like it's cool. Like you don't need to like ball out. You know what I mean. Now I do have a nice car, but like I worked my way up. Like I started with like a Toyota like $800 car, and then like I rocked what's the Leaf, Nissan Leaf. No, I had the Prius. You know, everyone's riding the Prius, so I thought the Prius was cool because I'm all about the environment and shit. So I was like rolling around a Prius. Everyone's rolling the Prius. You know what I mean? Everybody was rolling. And then I read the Nissan Leaf was all electric. Have you seen those cars?
I don't know anything about cars. There's about 4 cars that I even could name on Earth.
It was all electric, but it would run out on you because it only got like a certain amount of miles. So you'd be like, oh shit, we got like 5 miles. So that was crazy. So I feel you, but I finally got a nice car. I got a Tesla.
Really?
Yeah.
How much you spend on that?
That thing was it was about 135 or something.
Yeah, LA.
It's a lot.
A lot of where you're at in life seems to be determined by how much your car costs, and that's something I think about a lot because recently one of my friends was like sort of laying it out for me. He's like, you can spend this much, and we can get you the fucking Rolls Royce, blah blah blah. And it's like, I know that there is a benefit to that because people will view me differently. People will be like, oh, he has money. Cool. Like, that, like, I know how stupid people are. I know how simple it is to fucking
like
trick them.
Promotion.
Yeah. And I get the value of it, but at the same time, I just don't want to do it.
I just did it because my excuse was that, like, oh, this is better for the environment. You know what I mean?
See, that's nice. It's nice that they have that going on.
So I had that. I kind of was able to fall back on that. But like, well, what if everyone just had electric cars? That'd be a lot better or whatever. So
Can you believe that Elon Musk basically had to pay like $40 million in fines from that tweet? Do you see this?
oh, what was his tweet?
His tweet was basically, we're taking Tesla private at $420 a share.
Oh yeah.
I'm pretty sure it was just completely supposed to be a joke.
Yeah.
And then instead, well, the stock was affected by this. It like went up 10% or whatever. And then the SEC is saying that he's like artificially inflated.
70 something now, right?
What?
Tesla stock.
Oh, I don't know exactly what it's at, but
It's low. It got beaten.
he had to step down as one of the chairmen, and then he had to spend a $20 million fine himself, and then Tesla itself had to spend $20 million. What the fuck? From a tweet.
Yeah.
This is what happens when he's a businessman. He starts hanging out with Grimes. All of a sudden, he's like making these like silly little tweets. He thinks he's funny. He thinks he's ironic. Sorry, doesn't work.
Yeah, it's like the Trump Twitter thing. It's like,
He was trying to be like Trump.
People get famous, and then they're just like, wow, these tweets, like people like, they listen. And it's like, man, they start going off on some crazy shit sometimes.
Yeah. But I mean, saying
like
something.
Kanye.
Oh God,
it's been on one.
It's been a couple of weeks with that. Yeah, that makes.
I don't think he was doing that kick that well. Like he was wearing the costume and he was like kicking from the bottom of it.
Did he bust that out?
He did a little kicking kind of while he was rapping. But
Really?
he was like doing it was like the foot was coming up underneath.
I think it's pretty crazy that to get a #1 song, he had to go and get a little pump. The world has changed.
Yeah, I mean, I'm kind of like anti-Kanye lately because of all this like Trump loving stuff.
Yeah.
he was giving a speech after SNL.
Yeah,
and
they cut him off.
And he was saying 90% of the media is liberal. I'm like, shit, I wish that was true.
You don't agree with that?
I mean, I don't know. Is it?
Who's
like
the
it's not
conservative
90%.
media? I feel like we got like Fox News, but there's not a lot of conservative media that's like mainstream, right?
That's a good thing, man, if that's true. I'm liberal myself, so I mean that's the side I'm fighting for.
I mean, I feel like I'm embarrassingly centrist at this point, and I also just feel like I don't have anything to gain from talking about it for the most part. Like watching the Kavanaugh thing,
half the shit is divided.
There's so many things that I felt like saying during the whole Kavanaugh thing, and luckily I listened to my better instincts and just didn't say anything.
You didn't have a poker read on it?
I mean, I've just been interested in the whole thing, and I mean, to be honest, I mean, I don't know what the fuck I'm going to say, because I find her testimony very, very convincing, and I find his pretty convincing, and I'm just kind of like, I don't know. But even in expressing
he likes beer.
He likes beer.
I like beer.
It's been an ugly week on Twitter.
He makes crazy faces and shit.
Yes, it's been so fucking
Wait,
crazy.
if he wins, there would be no more abortion? Is this what's going to happen?
No, they just believe that he might rule
but it's
unfavorably.
A scare. And especially women are concerned about this. There was women protesting, man. I was getting emotional. I was like watching the Kavanaugh thing, and the women were in there like, no, vote no, and just like the emotion they were having. I was like, man, this is real. Like he could go in there and make like abortion illegal or do like.
I know that's scary to me. I feel like as centrist as I might be, I really believe a woman has the right to choose, and I can't really get away from that.
Yeah, you can't control like a woman's body. That's wrong.
Yeah, that's gross to me.
So, you know what I mean? I feel like these women, they cornered the homie in the elevator.
The Jeff Flake thing.
Yeah, and they got him to do this investigation. I mean, that's powerful. It just shows you like protesting, like it works. Like,
but don't you think from his perspective, it's like an optics thing? Like if he doesn't
Saving
consider
face.
that, then like he's going to look like an animal. I feel like these dudes are
maybe.
And a lot of people, I've seen it laid out right away. Like Jeff Flake's just gearing up for the book that he's going to write about, how those women changed his mind and everything. I don't know. It's so hard to like, I don't feel like I have enough of a perspective to really like be crazy
it's hard
outspoken.
to trust any of it really. You know what I mean?
What about the guy that you called a racist at the poker table at Live at the Bike?
Oh, yeah.
What's his name?
Well, because I had just before I went and played, I had like tweeted that like anyone that supports Trump is racist. Okay. And I was like, there's no way around it. That's really like, I feel that way. I think if you support Trump, you might not be like crazy racist. Like you might have black friends or whatever, but like you're a percentage racist. I just feel like because Trump is so racist that I feel like if you're kind of supporting that, that's what I feel like it is. Trump said that like the Nazis that were in Charlottesville, they were good people too, or whatever. He's talking about Nazis.
Well, but he was saying there was good people on both sides. I think you
can't say that when they're like Nazis and shit. You can't say they're good people when it's Nazis.
I agree, but I do think that like what he was trying to get across is just that there are good people who are conservatives and bad people who are conservatives, and then but like that's the whole thing is I feel like he isn't. As bad as he is, as much as I dislike Trump, I still feel like he's treated unfairly by the media when they take something like that and frame it as if he was talking about Nazis. I don't really think that's fair. I think he's just trying to make the point as a fucking idiot that he is.
He's trying to keep his supporters, really, and a lot of those people that were marching are like, they're for him. They definitely want him. I mean, that's why people think they might be like colluding with Russia. It's like the whitest country you can ever have.
You think that's why Trump is down with Russia? Is just because that's all white people?
That's something I seen. It might have been on Bill Maher, but I was like, that's some crazy shit.
Russia.
They were clowning saying Russia is like the whitest place.
I went to Russia. I don't know if I saw a black guy the whole time.
That's what I'm saying.
Maybe a couple, but not much.
Maybe Kanye will be the vice president of Trump. Yeah.
I mean, to be real, Kanye being president is like almost exactly as ludicrous as Donald Trump becoming president. So it's like, for me, in my head, it totally could happen, which is scary.
What if he flipped it and he went straight Black Panther and shit? That would be sick.
Yeah, how is he not doing that?
If he went super advanced and this whole thing was to gain the presidency, he's doing the Trump tactics, and then he gets in there and he flips it and he goes back to talking about like George Bush doesn't care about black people, and then he goes in.
But this is what I don't get. Like,
but I don't think he's going to do that.
I don't see any sort of like valid, like I don't see Trump or I don't see Kanye supporting Trump for any valid reasons. Like anything that actually is like coherent or makes sense with what
He
Trump
says he's
talks
cool with
about.
the celebrities. He said he's cool with the rappers.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It's Kanye.
No, he wrote a whole tweet recently saying like "Make America Great Again" and all this stuff. I mean, he's really gonna take all his fans and tell them peace, you know, because, you know, man, I've been watching like State of the Culture and Everyday Struggle, and like, you know what I mean, the vibe out there is definitely not, people aren't that cool with Kanye.
I think we're going to see really interesting numbers from his album, because I feel like there's a lot of people who really are, the tide is churning for them, or maybe they were able to sort of ignore some of the Kanye Trump support over the course of the past year or two. But it's like reaching this pitch where I was watching Wale on The Breakfast Club the other day, and they said, like, what do you think that would happen to you if you had said some of the things that Trump said? And he's like, I would be done.
Yeah.
Out of here. And it's so true. It's amazing. Like, it really says something about his impact on the culture that he is
He's
even
so
been
famous
that he's been given this much of a pass to even have said the things that he said already. The things that he said so already would get almost everybody out of here in rap.
I was just telling my wife, like, we were chilling, smoking, and I was just like, everyone's just basically watching someone kind of go crazy. Like, and it's just, he's so famous that's like the media is just allowing it. Like, he's just kind of going crazy in front of our own eyes, and he still gets to be on Saturday Night Live. He's still got a video, and it's just like, you know what I mean? You're just watching someone lose it. You know what I mean? Because the dude used to be down for the people, I feel like, and he had everyone, like, he had a lot of support and a lot of love, probably. I mean, I grew up like listening to his shit. His shit is dope. Like, the dude is a musical genius for sure. But man, when you turn on the people, man, because you got famous, or man, I guess he's probably just losing his head, you know? Like, it's not even his fault. Like, he literally is losing his head, you know? But he used to be down, I feel like, so much. Like, when he made Jesus Walks and some of that stuff, he would talk about, like, you know, the people and shit, and being against kind of like the government and everything. But now he's just like, fuck.
I know, it's amazing to think about some of the things that he's said and done, and like the idea, like, because at the end of the day, everybody wants to be liked, right? It's almost impossible.
He said he wants to be liked by white people one time. I think he was saying he wants to be accepted by white people. And
really?
I don't know. He's taking it too far.
Imagine like the people who work at Yeezy and how they feel about it. Like, damn, he went crazy for all these years to build up this clothing line.
I know.
And now he's really probably putting it all in jeopardy, because who knows if he takes this shit further and further, like, I could see something happening
massively when you attach yourself to Trump now. And I think companies like Nike are seeing that. And like, do you think Nike was 100? Like, do you think what percentage sincere do you think they were in the Kaepernick whole like commercial and everything? Was it because you've seen the results, like their shit just went up, like it was the best move ever. So it's like, you kind of wonder, like, was that calculated to make money, or was that just like the pure shit of it? You know what I mean?
I mean, there's so many people who work at Nike. They're obviously probably not there's not a consensus about, you know, politics, but I would assume that the vast majority of the employees in Portland are liberal. I mean, I assume that the majority of the people who were involved in making that decision, you know, were I actually heard that they almost got rid of Kaepernick like a year ago, and then the last minute, like, somebody swooped in and was like, no, this is such. I mean, at the end of the day, like, I see how record labels work up front all the time. Is it really about like their beliefs when they like sign an artist? Is it about them wanting to support the artist's beliefs or whatever? I mean, not normally. No, it's about, you know, money and like what they think will play well. It's like, I think two things can be true at once. It's like they're supporting a political movement, but then they're also you know, they realize it's good business. Yeah, no, but I guess what would be the odds? I guess you don't have to hate on it just because it's like corporations are out there to make money, and then at least it's like a Michael Moore movie to me. Like when Michael Moore makes a movie, he makes like 300 million. Like, he's made documentaries, like the 9/11 one, he made like 300 something million or whatever, 200 something million, and he like gets his message across, and he makes huge money. That's unbelievable. But don't you think? Well, from my perspective, like, Michael Moore tends to be a bit dishonest, a little bit, like, he exaggerates to make his point. Yeah, I mean, he tries to make it fit, like, to where he's going to convince people, you know, like if it was a jury and you watch his film, then he wants people to he wants to convince them. I mean, anyone who makes any kind of art is going to make money from it, you know? And it's like that to me is it's sort of a strange way to write off what somebody's done with their life by just saying like, oh, you're making money from it. Like, you know, if I were to do a podcast tomorrow and totally talk about, you know, like political stuff, or somebody could use that same argument here. Like, oh, you just made this whole podcast, you know, talking about, you know, values and politics and all this stuff. And then you ran YouTube ads on it and you made money off it. It's like, okay. Yeah. That's kind of like what I do is I like run ads on my stuff. It doesn't mean that I'm just not sincere in what I said just because I made a couple $100 off of it or whatever.
Yeah, at least it's cool. Like I think for the cause or whatever, being against police brutality. I think that like, you know, even if they're making tons of money off the move, it's cool that people like, hopefully, you know, when they research Kaepernick, they know that it's like, you know, it's about police brutality and they become a little bit more aware about it. And man, we just need like these police we need like stricter like interviews or like mental like questioning or like test like to make sure people aren't racist or like, you know what I mean? That's what we need. We need the cops. I think we need to clean up the cops, you know, because we do need cops in society, you know, but when they're like they have been, there needs some crazy amount of change that needs to happen.
No, yeah, I think that's fair. Do you feel like you've been sort of like ostracized from certain roles within poker because you've publicly made statements about politics in ways that people might not have found palatable?
I think so. Yeah, like back in like 2003, I won a bracelet and they like gave me the mic. And as soon as I got the mic, I was like, I'm against the policies of President Bush and like this war like in Iraq is like a horrible war, is an unjust war, and it's like
2003.
Yeah,
kind of a controversial statement at the time, more than it would be now.
Yeah,
we're fresh off of 9/11.
I would have a lot of support now. I feel like for that kind of stuff, but back then, like I got a lot of boos and stuff because there was like kind of a conservative element in the room at the time. I had some friends that were cheering for me, like when I said it, but you know they're not really used to that. Like a poker player grabbing the mic and like saying some politics. So it was kind of like, it was cool. I brought a new element, you know what I mean? And I just felt like doing it. It's like I had won. They gave me my chance. And, you know, I didn't say anything too crazy. I just said I'm against the policies of President Bush, which is pretty chill. Yeah. I like doing it. But yeah, I think like there were some people, I thought I'd be banned from Binion's. Like that was back when it was at Binion's. It wasn't at the Rio Casino. It was like it was in downtown. Like you had to go downtown to play World Series of poker events.
Downtown LA.
You had to go downtown LA, bro. And you had to go to Binion's Casino, bro. It's like old as fuck. It's like dim ass lighting.
Really?
And like you had to go up in there and just battle. Yeah, like but that didn't last too long. Like but I did play there for like maybe a couple years. Mm-hmm. And then it moved like to the Rio, which was nicer.
So does that tournament, winning a bracelet and everything, does that mean a lot to you when you think about it? Is that the kind of thing like that you want to chase after and win more? Or?
No, I mean sometimes like I'm at home watching this poker stuff and I'm like, sometimes I get jealous of like people's success, like, and I think like maybe I should be like number one or whatever, or I should like prove myself, you know, and I should, you know what I mean? Because like there was a time where like people did think I was the best, like, you know, it might not have lasted forever, but it lasted a while where people were kind of like, he's the best, and it was kind of nice. And then when you lose that, you know, you got to humble yourself and just like, you know, you can't let it drive you crazy. But then, like, there's occasional moments where you're like, man, maybe I should get back to that number one spot. Like, you know what I mean? And you watch poker and you're like, you know, maybe I should get back there. You know what I mean? And so...
but entering a shitload of more tournaments would be very time intensive, huh?
Yeah, but to prove yourself, basically, like, these notions that I have, like, the actual work behind it is pretty definitely intense because, like, you can't just play cash games to prove yourself amongst the public. If you want to, like... you know, go on like fucking The Tonight Show or whatever. I don't know, like whatever. Like that's so sometimes what I envision, like, oh, I should be like that guy that's like goes around and is like the poker ambassador. But then other times I just like, you know what I mean? I like to just chill back and just like smoke a little weed and kick it with my girl and then just like, you know what I mean? Like, because when you get all public, like crazy public or crazy famous, you know, it definitely entails a lot of hard work that you might not want to do when you just like a lot of people get into poker because they want to chill. You You know what I mean? Because they're like, I'll be my own boss. You know what I mean? I won't have to do this or have to do that. So then when you get all public-y with it and you start to do endorsement deals like, you know, Phil Hellmuth and the Daniel Negreanos, and they do all these endorsement deals, now they find themselves like, you know, doing photo shoots here and there and interviews here and there and this and that. And before you know it, it's like that poker life is not existent. Now they're just like a public figure. You probably see some of this. And yeah, so I get torn between like, should I go hard and like prove the world that like maybe I am the best, or should I just be like, be cool in the top, whatever. I don't got to be the best, and just try to make some money to like, you know, feed the fam, and just like, yeah, and you just be content, like we were talking about earlier. So sometimes you struggle with just like being content and like be chilling and not needing to be in the top spot. And then, you know, there are occasional times where you're like, damn, man, maybe I should be like the man, you know what I mean? I used to be the man, you know what I'm saying? I should get back in there and just like study my shit extra hard and like get in there and battle and like do all this TV shit and do all the big tournaments and, you know, get in the biggest games and do like blah, blah, blah. And then, but then I get over it. Like I'm chilling, you know.
Do you, okay, so you were part of this huge scandal, this online cheating scandal. This happened mostly after Black Friday, right?
Yeah, this was before that.
Well, when it came out.
This was before that.
Oh, okay.
I mean, this like the cheating was from 2004 to 2008.
Just consistently
2004 to 2008 for 4 years. This guy had about 150 accounts.
What?
And he was playing a lot of hours and just, you know, seeing everybody's hole cards. So, you know, you can just play perfect or whatever. You know, you can call a guy with jack high, I guess, if you want to, and you're going to beat his 10 high or whatever. I mean, you could just bluff him every time. I mean, obviously, and he just like beat everyone. That's how he got caught, actually, is like these poker nerds on this site called 2+2. They like,
where I used to post.
Oh, that's what's
Full
up.
disclosure.
Shots out.
Got some savory posts on there from back in the day.
I've been on there before and made my little comments and read some shit on there. You know what I mean? Shout out to them. But anyways, they discovered that like they did a chart of like all the people winning, and they had all these dots of like people, their win rates, and they had these dots that were like crazy up like in some other hemisphere, and the guy was winning like 99% of the time or whatever. He just never losing. And so then they looked at all these accounts that hardly ever lost, and they were like, this is crazy. And so then they started looking into it, and they're like, okay, this is not right. And then, like, I guess they just, like, discovered the shit. They found out more shit.
So did you know that this dude, Russ Hamilton, was the one behind that you were playing against? Or you thought you were playing against?
I thought it was, like, 150 names, bro. Right. It was, like, The Rider 287, Tickle Puss 8759. Like, you know what I mean? Like, Randomator or you know, just like, it's just, you know, whatever. I mean, I'm not going to sit here
it was just
name a bunch of names. I'm just making up things. But yeah, you play random ass people, and you just like assume, you just like trust in the software, the security, or like, you know, you just, you know, maybe you're too optimistic sometimes. That's what
I remember during that time period that, you know, I pretty much constantly see threads on 2+2 trying to prove cheating, trying to prove all this other stuff. And it mostly just laughed off, you know, because everybody's always going to come up with some way to explain variance or explain what the fuck's been happening to them. It's like, I never really saw those taken seriously until it reached this like fevered pitch where there was like real deal evidence. It's not like, you know.
No, they caught him red-handed. Like he took like maybe 60 million or something. And then like people gossip that it could be more, could have been more or whatever. And I was the number one victim out of like 60 million. Like I was the number one hit guy for the most.
Just because you were playing heads up, no limit with them.
At the time, I was like, I would play anyone. I was just in that mode, that kill mode, and I was just like, I would wake up, cereal, just like in my boxers, chilling, and just like right as I wake up, I'm ready. Like I'm waiting on every table. And then like I would play anybody. Like I played anybody. That's just what I did. I didn't care. I wasn't like selective. Like, oh, is he an amateur or pro? I would just like, okay, you're Phil Ivey, let's do it. Like let's go. Or like you're Doyle Brunson, whatever. I just played anyone, and I just loved it. And that I really got a lot better from just playing anyone, because like everyone you play has a trick up their sleeve usually, and you can just like take it from them and just like put it in your little satchel. You know what I
Right.
mean? And then the plays that you didn't really like that they made kind of like you kind of take out of your game, and you know, you kind of like, you're like clay, you know what I mean? You give and take, and you learn from every opponent.
So were you convinced that you were being cheated before you saw the evidence that you were being cheated? Like, did you think that there was a chance, or you thought you would just run sort of bad?
Nah, man, I just thought it was variance, you know, even though I lost like millions of dollars. Like I had a lot of money online or whatever, and all the zeros went to zero. It would,
Yeah. But you're always, even if you're the best player in the world, you're always going to think that, okay, you know, eventually that'll happen, that I'm supposed to lose a lot of money.
I just figured, you know, that's like, I grew up kind of in a hippie upbringing, you know, meditating. I was just like, that's karma, that's life. Like I'm meant to kind of lose. I'm meant to run bad, and that's going to show me something in life or whatever. And so I just had kind of a optimistic view about it. Which made me a little bit open for some, you know, being a little naive maybe, because I was so optimistic. You know what I mean?
But really, what were you going to do even if you totally did suspect it, right? Like,
I mean, I guess I would just not have played as much or something, you know, and I would have cut my losses, you know. But yeah, you live and learn. But yeah, it was pretty crazy to find out. Like Phil Hellmuth told me in Aruba, it was like this tournament out there, and he came up and he said, "Hey, Prahlad, have you heard about they're refunding the players for the cheating?" And they're like, "You're gonna get a big chunk." And I was like, "What?" Because I had already got back like $60K or whatever, and I was pretty happy with that. It was just like a random $60K. Oh, you're getting $60K back, like out of nowhere. And usually in poker, like if people have gotten cheated, they usually don't get a refund. You know what I mean? It's like if you get robbed out on the streets, like you usually don't get a refund.
right.
You know what I'm saying? But then I got a refund. I got $60K. I was super happy. But then Phil Hellmuth, his tall ass, he leans down. He's like, "Prahlad, you're gonna like what you're getting back." And I was like, "Damn."
What was it, like $1 million or something?
Yeah, it was big money.
But you think that you still probably got cheated for more than that?
I mean, people would say that. They'd be like, whatever you got back, it was probably twice that or whatever. But I did get back a big number, so I don't, you know, I always thought that like it was probably the right number, but you know, it might have been more. It's like you never really know like all the facts, you know. It'd be nice to know every single thing that happened behind the scenes. It was funny. There was like a tape that got exposed.
I
of
listened
Russ.
to that, yeah.
Did you?
I listened to it right before this.
You're a good fucking researcher, because he mentioned my name in it too.
Right.
It was fucking spooky.
Wait, he said, like, listen, I did take the money and I have no intention of making it right.
But he
That's
said
an
my
epic
name.
quote.
You hear a bunch of like fucking old ass fucking white guys fucking sitting around talking about cheating you and for how much, and this tape got revealed, and I listened to it, and it's like, we cheated. It was I can't even remember it. It was something about like, we got Prahlad for 200,000 or whatever, and I'm listening to this tape and I'm like, that's crazy, you know. Just like, imagine if someone robbed your home and then you heard the tapes of the plan. They're like, we're about to get this cat,
Right.
And you're just like, wow,
That's almost worse.
it's crazy
than
to
getting
see,
your house robbed.
to hear like the plan.
Yeah.
And it's just like, you know what I mean? It's like, wow, they really was fucking premeditated as fuck. Like,
So for people out there who don't know, he could see your whole cards the whole time. Do you think that
see my cards.
Do you think there was a way that he could have done this that he wouldn't have got caught? Or at least he
definitely.
would have been able to do it a lot longer, but it would take a lot more self-control to not just do every advantage that you see in a hand, right?
When this discussion comes up, people always say, like the guy, oh, he's so stupid. Like, oh, all he had to do was just like win at a normal type of rate, or like, you know, like let a guy beat you here and there. Like, you know, maybe win 60% of the time, or, you know, maybe even 65, but don't win 99% of the time. So yeah, people would always say that, you know what I mean? And, you always hope they don't really mean it. Like, motherfucker, you would really do that? Would you be slick? And then you would cheat us? No, but they're usually just being hypothetical. That, you know, they actually wouldn't cheat anyone. But
Right.
it's just like,
Well, it's not like anyone's gonna have access to the whole cards or whatever. Although I did watch the fucking video that Doug Polk made, where he was talking about some guy that came over to his house and installed fucking computer software on his computer.
to like hone in on his like screen.
Yeah, so that
that's
this guy
crazy.
could play against him. And he said that this dude who did it to him did it to other people as well.
It's crazy, man. Yeah.
That's scary shit right
people
there.
go far, man, when they want. Like, I just saw Rihanna got robbed for the second time and whatever. Like, you know what I mean? Like, a lot of these artists and just anyone, man. Like, it's like, I would suggest don't keep too much valuables at your crib. If you do, live in a gated community or some kind of like crazy alarm system.
Definitely, you need to be careful. Do people get their houses robbed in poker a lot?
I mean, I've heard stories of people like being followed, but I think it is pretty rare.
But do people really keep millions in cash in their houses just because they are playing at those stakes? That'd be crazy, right?
Usually that people will have it somewhere safer. They'll have it at the bank or they'll have it at a box or something. Yeah, I mean, people try to be careful. You know what I mean? And the people that don't out there, you shouldn't do that.
Yeah.
It's stupid as fuck. You know, but like...
I felt weird leaving out the bicycle with cash on me in my bag. The place is kind of in the middle of the fucking hood.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, you know, don't get robbed, man. It's not fun.
Not that I thought anything was going to happen, but it was just kind of like a weird thing to think like, damn, I never walk around with like a large amount of cash on me besides right now.
I got robbed before out of my house. The first time I ever left money at the house, I'd never done it in 20 years of playing poker. I never leave money at the house. Like, I don't really do that. Like, it's just stupid, you know? Like, you leave it at the casino or in the bank or whatever.
But wait, so you left the casino and went back?
I went on vacation and I left money just like in my apartment. I was just like, I was living in Venice and I left it in an apartment and I was like, we were kind of in a rush. And so then I didn't want to, I got lazy. I was like, fuck, I've never done this. I was like, but it was like a gated apartment complex or whatever.
How much money?
It was $100K or whatever. And like, this is crazy shit. Like, go on vacation, come back, and then like, oh shit. Like, the first thing you want to do is like, okay, in the closet, in the bag, in the shit, check, gone. You're just like, motherfucker.
How'd they know it was there? And how did they know that you were like?
I don't know. And they left some money too. There was like some chips on the dresser I had. It was stupid. And this is the only time I've done that in 20 years. I don't leave money at the house if anyone's trying to rob me. Like,
But do you think anybody set you up?
You're not gonna get nothing. I don't leave money, and it was the only time I did it. And then I fucking got robbed. It's bad luck.
That's rough.
Yeah.
I just don't understand how the fuck they would have known that was the time to do it.
I think you know. Yeah, I don't know, man. It might have been some kind of inside job or some shit like with the building complex or that shit is crazy. Someone just like playing that shit and fucking, I don't even know, man. You know, you drive yourself crazy with that shit.
Yeah.
But like the police came and I did a report and everything and they took fingerprints and stuff. But like, I don't even know if they got back to me on that. Like,
he was just over it.
If it's not like rape, murder type of shit, like I don't think they're even tripping. Like even if people get robbed for like $500K or whatever, I don't think they're like gonna do a crazy investigation and like, you know what I mean?
Because why would they?
Because they have a lot of crazy shit to deal with, probably with murders and rapes and crazy shit, and so they're just like, yeah, when people get robbed for some money, they're not gonna go like crazy as fuck because they could probably go crazy and like figure it out, maybe, you know.
But there's also like, why the fuck do you have $100,000 in your house? I feel like the cops are almost like you kind of deserve it.
Yeah, I was dumb for sure. So it's definitely like a $100K lesson.
I find that whole idea of like, just the idea that there's a world online where people have worked up their bankrolls to be so large that like you can actually watch like $500,000 pots online and stuff, like on YouTube videos, like these classic pots being.
Have you seen that Triton shit? The biggest game, like there's fucking, you can go watch on YouTube this Triton series where it's like they're playing. Everyone has this like $1 million buy-in. It's pretty sick.
Really?
It's just fucking huge games. It's just so crazy now that you can watch people's whole cards and they're playing for like $2 million pots and like, and it's just like sometimes it's just free to you. Like you're just on YouTube and it's just like absolutely free, and you're watching like some of the best players in the world, their whole cards. It's like it's kind of crazy. Yeah. It's like you think they would maybe get paid more, get more of the cut of the deal. The poker players, you know.
Do they even get paid?
I mean, probably I think sometimes on some of these things, maybe they make a certain money per hour because it's just like on a show, maybe that might make money, but
it's not going to be significant compared to how much you're working with on the table.
I know, because like basically you're almost like you're like an actor at that point, and they're showing your whole game. They're showing every hand you play, which could affect your livelihood. I mean, if people know exactly how you play. Yeah, it could affect you a little bit. You could maybe earn a little less or whatever. So you're kind of like sacrificing a little bit. So I think players should definitely get a little bit more cut probably of
Do
some
you
of
ever
these
live
shows.
stream poker?
You know what I did that was a little somewhat popular is I live streamed. I rapped for like fucking 6 hours straight or something, freestyled.
Really?
I was just going nuts, and like I used to have like a little bit of a following I feel like more than I do now. Like when my heydays of online, I used to have some people that were kind of like I had maybe some more hardcore fans back then. And so then like they would watch me just like freestyle or whatever. It was pretty fun. So I streamed literally. It was like for probably like 4 or 5 hours, just like ba-da-da-da-da-da, and just like putting beat after beat.
That sounds fun. I mean, we do that on here pretty frequently. That guy Hakeem you seen out there?
Yeah.
Oh my God. If we put on beats, he will just start saying the dumbest shit. Is so fucking funny. Sometimes we'll just be fucking smoking back here just saying the stupidest shit, man.
So you'll get on the mic, you'll spit some shit.
You know, I'll freestyle a little bit, just joking around. I try to like keep a fine line between like actually rapping and like just sort of freestyling on the podcast.
Yeah.
You know, I don't want to do anything artistic. That's
Like
my
if
rule.
Yeah.
If I tried to like rap with like a meaning, that would be bad to me.
Yeah. You're not trying to like separate everybody.
I'm just not really a musician. I've never made music, never rapped, never like really. Always been really into music, but never crossed that line and like made music. And I just feel like that's kind of important to me.
Probably like of all the rappers you interview and all the music you probably listen to, I would imagine that you could probably create kind of like the music maybe that you like. I bet you. Because it's like if you look at it like poker, like you're observing, you're seeing the whole cards almost a lot of the times,
Right.
and you're seeing how these things are put together. I bet if you like took it seriously and like tried to put together like produce some shit, you would probably have a decent ear for like what's popping or whatever. Just because like you're just in the culture, you're like around it and everything.
Yeah, but this is my thing, and I don't know if I'm just telling myself this, but I feel as if I like documenting the stuff that's out. I don't really like being involved in the creation of music so much. Like, I don't really like having to like, because I could do that. If you sit me in a room with a producer and a guy who raps, it's like, I feel like I have a lot to offer in terms of saying like, don't say this on the song because that sounds stupid. Say this instead, blah, blah, blah. Sometimes I don't mind getting involved in like the editing process, just in the sense of like, if I hear a song, I could maybe say like, I feel like you should change this, this, and this. But like, you know, I like people always like producers are always like, I'm going to give you beats and then you can show them to rappers, you know. And I just have like a hard and fast rule. I'm like, no, I don't do that because it's just too much. Like, I don't like being involved with the music from scratch. Like, that doesn't.
It just seems like a headache, right?
It's just not me. I don't want to be involved in that extent. It's just, I mean, I feel like maybe I could do it, but I really feel like I judge myself based on like how many people I can affect and like how much the shit I do can like what the audience is, and the idea of like working in solitary with an artist to make music that then might be popular just doesn't really like do it for me.
It feels like a huge investment when you could just stream your thoughts.
a lot of time.
Just stream your thoughts, and then like you have just like people listening right away.
You
right?
know,
if you make a song, it's like such an investment, right? Sometimes.
it's just the whole thing. It's not a process that I'm used to. I feel like if that was the kind of thing that I was going to get involved with, I should have got into it when I was younger. I'm clearly like just in this like media direction. And I have met artists who are like, you know, they're like young as fuck. They're still like moldable. They're like want me to be their manager. And I'm just, yeah, you know, I can't. I mean, if I was going to manage anybody, I would have managed X. And even that didn't really like appeal to me. And I think he's probably the most talented dude that I ever met. And like,
he was amazing, man. And he was just blowing up, like, you know, before his untimely death. Rest in peace, man.
Yeah, rest in peace. But I couldn't even bring myself to manage him.
He was all over the charts. He was just killing it, man. It was crazy. He was taking it over.
Yeah, it's a sad situation. But even in that case, like, it just didn't really, like, if I wanted to do the manager thing, as soon as he told me he wanted to be his manager, I would have flown to Florida. I would have been in the fucking prison every day talking to him and stuff like that. And instead, I couldn't bring myself to do it. I'm like, I'm working on No Jumper. I got to build this fucking media company that I've been putting my entire life into.
Yeah, it's hard to just jump off something that you're so invested in.
Do you ever struggle with like the meaning of poker, like feeling like you're not necessarily like contributing something?
I do, because especially me being so liberal and so like brought up like a hippie, and just like I've grew up meditating and being a vegetarian and just like helping the homeless and doing going so hippie that I often wonder, like, it's crazy that I'm like gambling for a living. You know what I mean? Sometimes it feels like it doesn't fit me. You know what I mean? But then like, just kind of like what you're saying, but like, it's just like, I'm in it, I'm good at it. And like, you know what I mean? Right now, I don't know the other routes I could take where it would give me these kind of rewards, you know what I mean? But I'm always dabbling. Like right now, like my wife and we have a group, Progress and Ida, and just, you know, we've been making a lot of music. We got a home studio and shit, and we're just like always making music. We probably got like 30 songs or whatever. We got like 9 of them are like on SoundCloud or whatever. Mm-hmm. But like we got a lot of stuff we haven't dropped yet, and I got a lot of interest like other than poker, you know what I mean? So I try to keep it balanced, you know what I mean? But absolutely, sometimes I'm thinking, because sometimes when I win, I don't always have like this amazing feeling, and I'm just like, that's crazy. And then one time I asked a crazy question. I was like, does it feel better to win 50K or lose 50K? And I was just like, it was like a high moment.
But why would losing 50K feel good?
It wouldn't, but it was just like, it was just kind of it was just something interesting to like think about or even say. It's like what we're talking about, like being happy, whether you have a lot of money or not. It's just like, either way, if you're a poker player, that's what you do. So like if one day you win 50K or lose 50K, it doesn't really matter.
You're not supposed to feel good or bad.
No, but you're gonna play the next day. You're gonna play the next week. You're gonna play the next month. You're gonna play for years. You're gonna play for 5-10 years probably. A lot of poker players play for like their whole life and shit. And like, so to worry about a day or two losing or whatever, it's like, it doesn't really matter.
Yeah. But I feel that way. Like, you know, I've had videos go crazy. I've had nights on stream where I made more money than I ever could have imagined. I feel like it's important to not get caught up in it and not really think about it, especially with poker, because it's like, you know that like, okay, you had a good night, but it's like you had that good night and like, maybe tomorrow will be a bad night. How you did tonight doesn't really say anything about how, you know, you could have stayed for one more hand and lost all that. Yeah,
the poker gods, they don't know when you're going to play. If you play 1,000 poker hands, is 1,000 hands. Like, it doesn't matter when you play them. If you quit, you know what I mean? Like, if you're up 10K and you're like, I'm going to quit, I'm going to lock this up, this is good. The next time you play, you might lose 10K right away in the session. It doesn't remember, you know what I mean? So it's just the same as you playing a little extra that day. It's the same thing as you playing a month from now. It's like you're just playing poker and you're playing for a certain amount of time. It doesn't really matter when you play. You can't lock up wins in poker. Like when you're a professional, like there's no locking it up. It's like that's what you do for a living. You know what I mean? Like most like super talented pros, like they don't lock up any wins. Like they go in, they work as long as they're feeling healthy, and they play till they're tired, or you know what I mean. They treat it more like work, and it doesn't really matter to them whether they're up or down. They're just gonna play if the game's good, and they're gonna play until they're tired. And it doesn't. You got to look at all your chips as poker, as chess pieces, and just like, and you can't think about being up or down, and if you're gonna buy something nice or if you're gonna be able to afford to pay the water bill or whatever.
Have you ever had any other jobs?
Man, not really, man. I worked at a golf course, like wiping clubs and stuff, and they fired me because I brought an extra guest on the day that the golf course is all empty. You can play. There's no one out there. I brought 2 guests. You're only supposed to bring 1, and they fired me.
Wow.
Yeah.
And that let you know that you needed to be an outlaw.
They're like, poker's your way, man. It's not going to be wiping clubs.
Yeah. That's fucked up, because if like you can't really like get another job probably because you're so used to making or playing with certain amounts of money, right?
I feel like I could probably do other stuff. I would just treat it like another poker game. I would go nuts. Like I've gotten into directing at a time, and I just like get every book I can. And then every time I watch a movie, I'm like, this cut, that cut. And you become obsessed. You're like, you see where the camera angles are supposed to be and how they do it, and the crane shot and this and that. And it's just like, man, everything in life is like another poker game, really, in my eyes. It's just something different to learn. It's just, you know what I mean? And so I feel like if I couldn't play poker anymore, you know what I mean? I mean, I'm trying to go hard with the music, like no doubt. And so like if the music, if we get a wave going, if we get it cracking, like I'll probably play less poker. You know what I mean? I love music. I love rapping. I love singing. And I love doing it with my girl. She's amazing. So like that, I have a lot of fun with doing that, and probably more fun than poker. You know what I mean? But it is nice when you win in poker and you played perfect and you like folded a huge hand and you like called with a really weak hand and you were right in every decision and you just like were in the zone. You know what I mean? That is amazing. You know, that's just like anybody that does something good in their job would be like satisfied with that.
It's crazy how poker is kind of all about trying to reach that state, that flow state that really is out of your control for the most part. Like, you know, if you have a great night where you feel like you made all the right decisions and stuff, well, that also like there's a lot of luck involved in that too. But it's like you're always just trying to like get into this place that is like statistically almost impossible for you to reach. Same thing with like winning a tournament. Like, you know, if everything is set first place, you're gonna kind of be like, ugh. And it's like such a crazy thing. Like your goal, the perfect thing they're reaching out for, is the thing that is very statistically unlikely, no matter how good you are, and very much so out of your control.
Yeah, everything you're dealing with is like a percentage. Like if the pot is $1,000 and the guy bets $1,000, you're getting 2 to 1 on the call. You only have to win 33% of the time for your call to be a correct call. So like you could win 40% of the time and still be making money, but you're still losing a lot. You're calling and losing a lot. So it's like maybe it's not a perfect session. Like some people do get obsessed with like, I didn't make the perfect play. I called, I lost. Like when you call, you expect to lose a lot of the time. So you're getting odds. So you know what I mean? Like people can't get obsessed with playing perfect. You want to play a perfect strategy. You know what I mean? Rather than perfect every play, because you can't like read a guy's mind and make the perfect play every time. You have to like make the best strategic play. Like call, like if this call against this guy in this spot will probably make money in the long run. You know what I mean? But like you might lose money in that specific moment.
I couldn't help when we played together the other day. I couldn't help but feel like with some of the plays that I was watching that that a lot of the guys at the table had what I would identify as maybe like just like real like gambler instincts, like just playing a lot of hands that to me seemed insane, but that made sense just because they really, really wanted to play. They really wanted to gamble.
There was some like old school moves. Like when we played, I feel like that like they took it to the streets, like on some live poker, like fuck you type shit. Like I got a big stack, so I'm gonna like put it all in. So like, you know, you it's gonna be tough for you to call, but you're gonna need a strong hand. And like, you know what I mean? Maybe a lot of times in that spot, like the guy that's betting 30K or whatever has the hand, so he's got to like have some bluffs in there. Like that's good poker. You got to kind of be balanced. If you're gonna make like big bets, like 30K bets when the pot's 20K, you're gonna have to have it and not have it. Like if you always have it there, honestly, you're not that hard to play. People can just fold. Like,
yeah, that's how I started to feel after playing for a while with you guys. I was like, man, like these motherfuckers can tell, like, because I fucking was just playing tight enough that it's like if I was like 3-betting or 4-betting or some shit, it's just like everybody at the table was like, oh no,
yeah. I
and
mean,
they were right.
Your image was kind of like pocket queens, jacks, minimum type of, or ace kind of jack thing. I know you raised a couple hands that weren't that good, maybe like, but like you were probably close to the button or whatever.
Yeah,
but,
there was still.
Yeah,
like,
you probably could have bluffed honestly in that session because your image was kind of like, oh, he's got solid hands. So it is possible that you could have maybe pulled out a few bluffs and maybe got away with it, but.
Yeah.
You did all right, man. You won. You did well.
I left with so much shit
did really
to
well,
think
though.
about in that.
I wouldn't have folded the ace queen. I know you folded ace queen.
Under the gun.
and I think that's probably you should just play it. I mean, if you raise and get re-raised, I guess you could really play like really tight and fold or whatever. But you know, I would say just raise it, see what happens. If you don't get re-raised, you can even just give up on the flop. But that hand has value just to hit a queen, an ace.
I don't think.
Hit a
I think I was
straight or
playing
something.
too conservative because I was overwhelmed by the amount of money on the table.
Oh yeah.
You know, that's why I don't think I should be playing 50 or 100. I just feel like it's just not.
Yeah, you lose equity sometimes if you play a game too high where you're gonna play differently. You know what I mean? Like where you know you should bluff and then you don't bluff, And so you're kind of losing money in a way. Like if it's a good bluff that earns money, if you don't do it, you're kind of like leaving money out there kind of mathematically. So like, yeah, if you're playing a game that's a little high and you're not willing to pull those like triggers like bluffing, sometimes your hand just tells you to bluff, like because it's like you have blockers or you have something that is just almost screaming for you to bluff, like, you know what I mean? And like if you don't pull that trigger, yeah, you're playing a little timid. You could be for the stakes, and that'll definitely hurt like your overall like earn in the game. You know what I'm saying?
Do you miss the old days of online poker where there was still a lot more big games going and stuff?
Man, it was pretty cool because like even if I was broke or didn't have as much money, or like even if I'm doing well, no matter what, I could always like chill and like watch. I used to watch these guys play sometimes for fun. Like I'm a poker fan, you know, like, and I like to improve my game. So like I would sometimes watch some of these matches and just sit there for hours and just watch. You know what I mean? And like I would watch these matches with Isildur and Dur. They were playing like these huge matches, like 500, 1,000. It was like insanely big games, 500, 1,000, no limit, and they're playing many games at once or whatever. And it was pretty crazy back then. You know what I mean? It was pretty crazy, and you could see these huge games. You didn't see the whole cards though, but it was pretty cool. I mean, people would watch the $1 million pots, and you know the pot took like fucking a minute to play. It's just like a quick online pot. That pot's over, boom, they reshuffle next hand. It's like, damn, you just played $1 million pot. Like no time to breathe even. They just deal out the next hand, boom.
I always had to
crazy, right?
I always had to stop myself from going and like watching these like crazy like games with $1 million on the table, because I would just like fuck, like I can't, like I feel like I'm like selling myself short by spending my time watching other people play rather than like studying or working on my own shit.
Well, I mean, if you learn from what you're watching, I mean, sometimes you can observe even a bad player and he can make like an interesting play, and you can kind of add it to your arsenal. You can be like, well, he's not that good of a player, but this play he made right here is this interesting play. Like it's like a really nice play. Like I think I'm gonna use that one day. Like I feel like poker players sometimes they think so much about poker. Like I dream of making certain plays against players that the situation hasn't come up yet. Like I just have it in my brain. It'll happen. Like I'll be playing someone, I'll be like, here it is. Like you kind of like see it in advance almost, some of the shit. You know what I mean? You're like, I know I'm gonna bluff this guy because like, you know, he's just been kind of giving me so much respect lately. So like, I'm already planning, like if I might play with this guy in a month, and I just know that like, I'm going to bluff him a little extra. You know what I mean? Like you plan on these things, you know, it's interesting. Poker players are always obsessing about this and that. And, but I mean, I guess some of that obsessing like helps us earn a little bit more, because you just get so nerdy with it.
I feel like when I look back at like the time that I spent playing online, that I really wish that I had put more time into like studying and maybe getting coached and shit, rather than just like grinding 10 million fucking hands.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, I don't know. It's like, yeah, a lot of people will offer coaching nowadays, and there's
That's big now,
probably
right?
some pretty good coaches. You know, you could just like go to like one of the best players in the world maybe and just be like, yo, I mean, especially if you got the money, you know, and yeah, I mean, that might be a good route for people, and just be like, yo, I'll pay $500 an hour or whatever, but just like teach me the secrets. And like, you know.
You do that for anyone? Does this not really come up anymore?
Well, I mean, I just offered it for minority poker players.
Oh,
I got
yeah,
a little
I remember
heat
this,
over
yeah.
that. I offered free coaching, and it was, you know, it wouldn't necessarily be like super intense coaching, but I'm starting it out with just like, you can ask me anything at any time type of thing, like on my Twitter or on my Instagram. Hit me up if you're not white, not Asian. And I got a little heat from this, but the only reason why I'm excluding like Asians, white, is because they've done really well in poker, and I see it, and like I just don't feel like they need the love. And so it's my way of affirmative action. Some people are against affirmative action. I'm not. I think sometimes like you definitely need it, because society has like kind of a systemic kind of racism against certain groups. And so like in poker, I've seen kind of a gap. I haven't seen, it's been a disproportional amount. And I just feel like, so then I offered myself up. I said, you know, I'll offer free coaching. And a lot of people got upset with me, and I was only offering free coaching, you know, free coaching.
But they see it as racism, you know?
But I'm just looking and seeing who's successful, and Asians have been very successful, and so have whites in poker. And so I just thought, I'm going to offer free coaching for the groups that I think are disproportional. And I think they're disproportional for a certain reason.
Why do you think that is?
I think it's just because society makes it harder for some of these groups because of racism. I think, I just think that a lot of people are growing up in tough situations, and, you know, they don't have the trust even from society. Like, I do honestly feel that a lot of people would trust an Asian poker player over a black poker player.
But do you think it's really about trust? Like, for me, I think it's more that, like, well, number one, I mean, there's not a lot of black hockey players or golfers or whatever, and I think that's, I mean, isn't it okay? Like, do we really need to have like full like racial diversity like within the poker table? Like, what does society gain from that? Is the reason why I think it's kind of strange. Like, it's just a game. It's like, you know, like I ride BMX bikes at least occasionally, and it's like, you know, I grew up riding like not all white kids, but it was largely white kids. Then I moved to Brooklyn, and it's like I'm riding in Brooklyn. It's like all black and Spanish kids. I'm in a crazy minority as a white kid. Now I'm back here in California. It's probably largely white and Hispanic, smaller percentage of black kids. And I understand why, too. It's like BMX is kind of expensive. A lot of kids from the hood don't necessarily have the means to do that. You know, skateboarding is probably more affordable and stuff like that. But I don't really see anything good that would come from like going out of my way to like get more black kids into BMX. I don't really think it matters.
I just think that, like, unfortunately, I think like slavery wasn't that long ago, and I think segregation wasn't that long ago, and not being able to vote was definitely not that long ago, and everything is not, it hasn't been fixed yet. Like, I just feel like too many people feel like there isn't racism anymore. Like, there's honestly a lot of people that feel that way, like that there's not much racism. And I'm just like, man, do you see social media? Do you see what's happening? You know what I'm saying? And so I just feel like when you kind of see that there's a lot of racism, what that means is that the people that are receiving the most racism are having less opportunities. They're getting hired less for certain jobs. They got less connections. In poker, they're getting staked less. Less people are maybe taking them under their wing and saying, join our poker clique. I think a lot of the poker cliques, you know, I see a lot of white and Asian and whatever, European. And I just feel like I just thought I could show some love, you know what I mean? I just feel like, you know what I mean? Like, just because you're black doesn't mean you're from the ghetto, obviously. But, like, if you look at the statistics, it's just like there is an overwhelming amount of black people and Hispanic people that tend to grow up in worse conditions, and their family makes less per year. Like, you see, like, Asians now make, I think, as much as whites. Like, now, like, they're killing the game. You know what I'm saying? So when I'm seeing people like they're killing the game, they're doing good, I just feel like the people that aren't doing as good, I don't think it's because it's their fault. Like, I don't think it's because they're not doing something correctly. I think it's society that is actually holding them back. It's like...
But do you think society is holding black kids from getting into hockey? Because I don't really think it's that. I think it's more of just like...
I mean, there's
they just
probably...
don't seem into
I mean,
it.
there is probably some...
Culturally...
money involved, like... Because you need a place to play. You need someone to freeze the ice and shit, and you need like probably some money like for the fucking air conditioning and all that. Like
golf or hockey,
anything where you
expensive.
need money kind of to train and do well in. Like, you know what I bet though? I bet you if you went to the ghetto and you started like picking out players that you thought would be good at hockey and went nuts and like trained it, I bet they would be fucking good.
They'd probably be annoyed as fuck. Oh, why the fuck do you want us to play hockey? We don't like hockey. We like basketball.
I know, but they would probably be good. You know what I'm saying? And no, but that's why I think like a lot of black people are like crazy, have this amazing amount of genius or talent, and they're not always able to like explore that. They're kind of like held down a little bit just because of society, because of racism. It still exists. It still exists. As long as racism exists, I feel like you need some type of affirmative action to kind of correct it a little bit. You know what I mean? And you can look at the math of it, look at the stats, see who's like the groups that are just having the worst, and like pick them up a little bit. Why not? Why not? If you're having a rough day, you want someone to help you out, don't you? I mean, you need love. You'll hit someone up. You usually need love, man. And everyone needs love. That's what I think. And so that's all I was trying to do.
Yeah. Do you think that poker is largely liberal or conservative? Like, do you feel like that statement sort of hit a particular nerve?
Yeah, I'd say poker is a little bit more on the right. I'd say. I mean, because like, a lot of people that play poker kind of like, it's I don't know. They're the good old boys club or whatever, smoking cigars and shit with the visors.
Yeah.
Bunch of fucking white guys.
It doesn't really stand out as something that like the average social justice warrior would want to do.
Yeah.
Sit in a casino all day.
That's what I'm saying. That's probably why. And it really revolves around only money. Kind of like that's all it is money exchange, like money won or lost. And like anytime you deal with only money, you're going to get people that they don't like taxes and shit. And they just want to preserve that money. You know what I mean? So like probably any industry, once a lot of money gets involved, man, people start getting more conservative. Like you got people like Kanye that used to be fighting that for people, and then get the fame and the money, and you're in the Kardashian shit. And maybe there is a Kardashian curse. Maybe it is real.
That might be real. Well, Kanye claims that he's moving back to Chicago.
But it's crazy, like with your family, with your
Kim ain't
girl.
moving.
Like, but isn't that a weird dynamic? I was talking to my wife about that. I was like, well, how does that work? They're gonna have a long distance relationship. They're gonna have an open relationship. Like, what are they doing?
I think they have to have some sort of weird open relationship.
Yeah, I feel like maybe even Chloe like allowed Tristan that night that they saw at the club. I feel like my wife and I, we feel like maybe he got a pass for that.
Right.
Like he's at a club. He's got girls touching him all over. Come on, man. I just felt like, and his girl's pregnant. I honestly feel like Chloe, they're kind of open-minded. And like maybe she didn't want to have that much sex or whatever. And she's like, man, go have a little fun.
Right.
And then because like the media caught it, maybe they just wanted to spin it like, oh, I'm sad or this and that.
I mean, maybe
that's one of my theories. Might be incorrect.
I might be super fucked up in the head, but that makes sense to me. If my girl's pregnant, she's busy doing the pregnancy thing. It's like, I've obviously got to go out and fucking do something with my penis. It's like, just let me go do my thing.
I feel like as long as it's both ways, and like I'm sure a lot of guys are like, well, why the fuck did he say that, man? I mean, come on, guy code. Don't say that shit. You don't say that shit. But no, I'm a feminist. I don't give a fuck. You know what I mean? And so like, that's what it is, man.
You guys strictly committed to each other, or are you guys running around? Are you letting like Kobe Bryant hook up with your girl in front of you on that cuck wave?
No, we're committed to each other. Definitely. Yeah, we're not running around with nobody.
No swinger stuff?
Nah.
Never tried it?
I
don't know why I had a feeling.
Yeah, it's possible that my wife and I have dabbled with outside parties, but everyone was present. Everyone was present there. You know what I mean?
Man.
A little Tiana type of with her man. You know what I mean?
Okay. I had a really weird one the other day where I was like hooking up with my girl and we were drunk. It's like 4 a.m. and like her friend is there, and her friend just is not the kind of person that I would ever think would want to be having any kind of weird threesome or whatever. She like tells us, her friend just all of a sudden just gets the spirit and is just like, suck his dick. I want to watch. I like watching. Then she keeps coming over and
wait, your girl said that too?
The other girl said it. Told my girl to start sucking my dick.
Oh,
right?
she wanted to like be like.
She's like, I like to watch, so give him head, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, okay, cool. I kind of like the idea that you're sitting there watching or whatever. But then she like moseys on over, sits right next to me on the couch. By the end, but she wouldn't actually, she only let me like touch her a little bit because I was like, by the end of the whole thing, I'm fucking my girl and like fingering this other girl.
Yeah.
But she was getting fingered, but she was just watching. Like, it was.
So you and your
weird.
girl have like you guys do some menage type stuff or whatever. That's kind of your thing, a little something dabbling.
We like to go and have a good time, yeah.
That's cool. I mean, I think people are a little too uptight about like their sexual life and stuff, and then people just end up cheating and just splitting up or being angry or in anguish or tormented.
Yeah.
Why don't people just be a little more honest with each other? If you have sexual urges, like tell your partner, be like, man, I kind of want to like let's have a threesome, or I want to hook up with someone, you hook up with someone, da da da. You know, I just think it should go both ways. You know what I mean? It's like the woman should be happy, the guy should be happy, everyone should be happy, and whatever you want to do, I think is awesome. I think that's great. If you want to do it, do it. I mean, I don't think people should be so uptight. And you know what I mean? Life's short, man. I mean, damn, we could get hit by a car right today. I could be walking across the street and I was too high and I didn't look both ways. No, I look both ways. But I mean, you know what I mean? And you get hit and then life's over and you're like, man, I should have had a threesome. Oh,
Yeah, at least I think that. At least I'm not gonna be like 70 and be like, damn, like I missed out. I could have been having a lot more fun there.
yeah.
At least I got a lot of it out of my system.
But I know that when people usually when they first have threesomes, it's kind of like it's not that easy.
Oh, a lot of people, yeah. I don't know.
Because it's like it's kind of like nervous. You kind of get nervous because you're just like, especially if it's a guy and two girls, it's like so much pressure to be the man. You know what I mean? It's like, damn, there's two girls. You're like, man, I gotta be the man.
I feel nothing.
I gotta be chilling.
When I'm in that situation, I'm so used to it.
Well, but that's what I was gonna allude to.
Yeah.
Is that you kind of have to like. You got to do it more often. You got to get used to it. You got to become a stone cold killer.
Exactly.
And then once you're there, then that's whatever. But like, yeah, like for people that have never had like,
I'm like
they've never
Phil
had
Ivey.
a threesome.
I'm in that threesome. I'm like Phil Ivey. I've done this before. I'm fucking stone cold.
Yeah,
I feel nothing.
That's why I don't know how you can prepare for that though. Like, how can people practice? How can you practice? Like, practice.
I don't know. Jerk off a couple times. Make sure you don't have too much like steam built up there.
Threesome jerk off training.
Do some yoga, maybe.
Yeah. No, but the main thing is you can't be nervous. You have to just be like, or you just have to be used to it, I guess. So like, I don't know how you put your mind there. You got to just, yeah.
Like
I guess
being
you
a
just got to
boxer.
get in there and do it.
It's like being a boxer. Your first fight, your first time
Yeah.
you ever go out there, you're fucking nervous as hell.
That's right.
You do 50 fights, you go out there, it's like whatever, you're used to it,
Hopefully they console you afterwards. Like you got a couple of girls. Like it's all right.
It's okay that you busted in 30 seconds.
It's all right. Took you a while to get it up. It's all right. You were nervous. It's okay. We know you're the man.
Yeah.
And you're like, I know you're.
Oh, that's the
but
last.
It's chill.
I would not have the problem of not being able to get it up. I would, if anything, I would have the problem of nutting too fast, but
Too excited.
too excited. Yeah, I don't think I would really have that problem anymore.
Yeah. It's good when you can dial it in, right?
Yeah, when you find that sweet spot.
Like when you can control it. You know what I mean? That's a good lover, you know what I mean? And like for guys out there, if you want repeat customers, I don't know if I can say that.
Customers, I like that, yeah.
I was like, should I say customers? I don't know.
Participants.
I have to be careful.
Lovers.
Yes. You what the fuck was I talking about?
You're just like talking about like keeping your dick harder for longer and like getting rounds in.
If you want repeat customers, for all men out there, make the girl come first.
That is a good point. Definitely, you don't want to be a one nut pony. You want to get yourself to the point where you can nut 2-3 times in a night, because a lot of porn types chicks and stuff, they really they want that level of. They don't want to fuck one time and then have.
Women can come more than men, so like the least you can do is like let them come first. Because I feel like if you come first, they're gonna be like, really? Like they're gonna be kind of like it's not gonna be as an enjoyable experience for them as you.
No, yeah.
And if you want them to make love again, you should try. Unless you're in a real rush.
I always feel like I'm in a real rush.
That's why you're over here. Like, really? Do I have to make her come first? You're like, I hope she's not watching that. She's gonna be like, that's right. That's true. What the fuck?
I mean, you just got to commit
fucked
the
you
hours.
up. No,
But that's the problem, man. It's just like poker. You just got to put in the hours, and then eventually you'll figure something out.
The lights at the certain dimming and the music right.
I was just watching that clip of you. This is off topic, but I was just watching that clip of you where you tweaked out on the guy during the World Series because he didn't put his ante in.
Oh yeah.
But then you were wrong.
I know. I was high as hell during that whole situation. Yeah. For people that don't know, like in 2006, like there was an ante dispute. It was on ESPN. There was like 6 cameras on the table, and nobody knew who put in this like 5K ante. And this guy Jeffrey Lissandro, he goes, I put it in, and I was just like over there, just I was like, did you? And I was like, let's check the cameras. And I didn't really mean like an attack on him, like you did it on purpose, but I just didn't like buy it. So I was like, let's just check the cameras.
You were because I don't trust you.
Yeah, well, I feel like I said, I don't trust you, sir. I had so many people tell me that's like the best line ever. It's like, because I was like, I don't trust you, sir. I added the sir. It's like almost like it's like a needle. Oh, it's like some weird shit I was on, to say sir. I think I was like, me and my friends were on this sir kind of bit. I was actually hanging out with Jay and Silent Bob, or Jay at that time, and like Andy Milonakis and like people like that. And they were like, I think there was like a sir you ever have like a group of buddies and then something just sweeps through, and like we were on the sir shit. We were like calling each other sirs all the time. So that kind of bled into that poker game, and then I called him sir because I'm calling all my buddies sir. But then like I'm getting into a fight and I'm still using sir. It was.
I saw Andy playing on a lot of the bike stream the other day.
Yeah, he plays a little poker. Like yeah, it was interesting when I first met him, man. I was like, man, this guy's like 10 years old, but he's like, man, he's not.
Yeah, no, he's a good guy.
He's a grown man. And he's dope, man. He's had it, man. He killed it with that fucking MTV show, and now fucking doing a movie and doing all this shit. He's a good dude.
Yeah, I love Andy. I don't know if he still live streams. He was going crazy with the live streaming for a while.
Got a lot of fans. He's got a lot of peeps.
Yeah, actually, when I first got his interview back in the day, God, I felt like I hit the fucking lottery. I was so hyped that I got that.
Yeah. Nah, he has like people that are hardcore for him. You know what I mean? He's got like, I've hopped in on his little live show. He's just got like 12 fucking kids and adults or whatever watching him, his every move, doing his little streams, and they just sit there for hours watching. It was weird. There's like they had kids like hitting crazy bongs and shit while smoking weed while they're watching, and he had all of their faces up on it too.
Really?
It was crazy. People were really interacting.
I'm really thinking about live streaming the new Spider-Man game like this whole week.
Because is that what you're on right now?
I haven't even played it yet, but I just heard it's amazing, and I just want to stream something besides interviews and stuff. And I feel like we have this new office.
Yeah.
Got this couch and everything. I'm thinking like, damn, I'm just gonna set up on the couch.
Just
I'm gonna
stream
play this fucking
every
game.
Possible thing.
Just see what people think.
Because like maybe it's like a popular game and people.
It just came out. Yeah, people are hyped on it. I'm not really thinking of it as like, oh, this will be like a good way to make money or
just
way
thinking
to
it'll be
engage.
fun.
Yeah, I just want to play it like because it's a one player like storyline based game, and also I can't get into Fortnite.
Yeah.
If I wanted to do what the kids think is cool, I would definitely be playing Fortnite.
The only thing that's kind of cool I saw is like they do the little dances and shit.
Well, you should Google that because they're being accused of cultural appropriation for that.
That's right. I did hear about that. So
Because
that isn't cool.
The Block Boy JB dance. I mean, to me, it's like if there's one dance and they put it in the game, all right, like nobody's probably going to say anything. But then when it's like they're putting every cool dance that some black teenage kid fucking made up and they're all being put in the game, that is kind of fucking weird.
There should be royalties for dance moves.
You can't copyright a dance
because they're so huge, and like that whole Kiki challenge like had that song #1, and like these dances are making money. So like, man, yeah, people that invent the dances, man, they should get their lawyers or something.
Yeah, even if you can't copyright a dance per se, it would still be nice if they did something for Block Boy JB to validate the fact that they are, because that's the thing that's fucked up.
They're making bread.
That dance is now more viewed as the Fortnite dance than the Block Boy JB dance, which is kind of, the fact that their game sort of has like eclipsed him as being where it came from. That's kind of fucked up.
I think it's the most popular dance move that exists now. Every video you see, people usually like to throw it in there. It's just like,
I see it so much.
It's
now.
fun. It's honestly a very fun dance move. I love it. I think it's awesome.
It looks fun.
It does. It looks kind of cool, and like people can really synchronize it dope. And it's like, oh, that's kind of funky move. I like dancing. I like dance moves. Fun.
Damn, we got 1,000 people watching us right now. I'm surprised that I wasn't sure if they would be tuned into the poker talk.
Oh, yeah.
You want me to pop this chat up and make it big so that we can see if there's any fan questions? I don't know how poker knowledgeable they will be, but they're calling us old heads trying to be young. Old heads
trying to be young.
You got us fucked up, guys. I don't even know if they know like anything about what we're talking about. Oh, rap.
Wait, a lot of shit we were talking was not poker related.
No, I was just talking about life in general.
They definitely knew about that other shit.
Someone said, how do you count cards? That's not even the same game that you think we're talking about.
Well, I do know how to count cards. Actually, I should just go ahead and give a free lesson right now.
You
First
did that
of
for a
all,
while?
to count cards, the first step. Yeah, I did it for like a year. It was kind of fun. It's like you versus the casino,
Yeah.
Shit is dope.
You were doing it out here or in Vegas?
I was doing it in Vegas. And like at the end of that, I was banned from like every casino in Vegas.
They got you?
Every fucking one gives the little shoulder tab. You'd be like, what the fuck, bro?
Did you make a lot of money during your time?
I made some money. No, it wasn't big money, but it was enough back then when I was young. It was like I was probably 21 or whatever. And it was pretty fun though, because like they treat you like a baller. Like for at the beginning, they give you a free suite, free like alcohol, free dinners.
Were you part of a team or were you just...
Nah, I was just solo, me and my buddy. And like I think we just started learning out we learn from Beat the Dealer, like the old book that
Yeah.
like is even in the movie. It's pretty funny. Like I think that's when I first learned how to
Wait,
do it.
what was the movie? Because that's why
It was called 21, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, like in that movie, they show the same book that I learned, me and my buddy. And it's like there's more advanced counting systems now or whatever, but like that one worked. Like it worked well enough to like win. You know what I mean? And so like your edge is really small. It's like, you know, you're dealing with like a 1-2% edge or whatever. But like you can definitely make some cheese and it's pretty fun. Like you know what I mean? I've had some fun playing, you know what I mean? And, you know, if you play with a guy that like, you know, sometimes you can go with someone and help them to win too.
A lot of people
I've done that before.
People in the chat are asking if you have ligma.
What is that?
Ligma balls. They love it. They love it.
Ooh, yeah.
Watch this chat light the
Tip-pum
fuck
pum.
up once they see that, by the way. No, but you want to know what I wanted to ask is, do you think if poker was like legal across all the states, like if there was like a united front of like, you know, good poker sites you could play on? I understand it's like all complicated now. I haven't actually tried to play in like 10 years, so I don't really know what it's like. But do you think that like poker is capable? Do you expect to see like another revolution like what happened in the early 2000s, like where it comes back in a big way?
I think it's getting more and more popular. Like the World Series of Poker, I think it had its second most entrants just this last year.
Really?
So it's like the shit is on the rise. So like
is,
poker
okay.
might be making a return, and usually in the main event you get a decent amount of you know, not the best players. So yeah, poker might be coming back a little bit. You know what I mean? And the new thing is they're also learning a lot of new games, kind of fun.
Right.
People are playing like short deck and like crazy weird games, different rules, and like they're having fun with it.
Do you think it's more likely that a different game could have like a pop culture moment, or do you think that it would be Hold'em since that's a game that most people know?
I think PLO, Pot Limit Omaha, is like super popular. And there'll probably be more like TV, cash games and stuff, and maybe more tournaments in the future of PLO. I think it'll probably get more and more popular. It's a pretty good game. You played it?
No, I got to learn. I would like to learn.
Pretty sick. I could definitely show you some shit.
I could use a new addiction. Yeah, I'll get a basic understanding and then I'll holler at you. Wait, but so playing online in California right now, though, is it just like nothing? Are there any sites you can play on?
Like people play on these like kind of iffy sites, you know? And you got to like settle up with so-and-so or do this or I don't know. And like, I don't know. It's whatever.
Not good.
It's not like how it used to be. It was like more like legit shit.
When you're in Vegas, though, you can play on like some other site that like is better.
Well, you can on Vegas. You can play on their little WSOP thing, and it's like all legal and everything. And like, yeah, I got a buddy that only plays on that site.
Really?
He plays. Yeah, he just like that's all he does.
And is it any good?
He says there's some games on there. Yeah, he's making a living on there. It's like he's playing kind of smaller games, but you know he's had to kind of rework himself. Like in poker, sometimes you have to really humble yourself. Like, you know, he used to have like big money. You know, at least hundreds of thousands. So it was definitely he was doing pretty well. And you know, you just sometimes people have a rough go at things, and now he's having to play small, and you got to suck it up. Like I've had to do that before. I've had like a lot of money and then went broke, and then you had to kind of like go show your face and then like play smaller games, and it's like you feel kind of humiliated. And it's like you shouldn't feel that way because like you should just be like strong mentally and like, oh, that's just life, you know. But you know you can't help it. Like when you have a certain image of like being the man or being whatever, it's like it's so stupid, like the whole ego thing. But you know it does infect you sometimes. So sometimes it's rough when as a poker player, if you go broke and you come back in the poker room and you got to play all small game, and everyone's like, hey Prahlad, why aren't you playing the biggest game? Like look, it's a fucking great game. The doctor's there and fucking whoever else, and you're just like, yeah,
Give me money.
Yeah, like it looks like pretty good game. Maybe I'm chilling for a sec. You know, you just like find ways of brushing it off.
But there's like a thing that happens because like we were playing 50-100 the other day, first time I played in 10 years, and then I'm watching Andy play like 10-20 on the fucking live stream, and I'm like, God, it doesn't feel like anything. Because I had just been playing 50-100. It's like hard for me to imagine playing 10-20 and really getting into it. You know,
desensitized. Yeah, you get used to it. Like, you know what I mean? Like That's why sometimes poker players, when they move up too fast and they try to go for the millions, they want to have all the money and whatever. You know, sometimes they do it. They just go way too fast. You know what I mean? And like you just like lose. You can just like lose all your money like so quickly when you go so aggressive. It's just like, you know what I mean? Poker is very important to like have patience. You know what I mean? You can't get all the money right away.
Yeah, I agree. Before we wrap this up, what else are you excited about in life right now? Like in terms of the music, tell the people where to go find the music.
Yo, so it's Progress in Ida. Go on SoundCloud, and it's just soundcloud.com/progress-ida. PRAGRESS/AIDA. So check us out on SoundCloud. We also have a music video on YouTube, Hazy Eyes. And Eyes is spelled EYEZ.
How'd you meet your girl?
On Tinder, man.
Oh, right, yeah.
Yeah, man. A lot of fucking swipes before I met the one, man. Like, honestly, like, I worked hard on that thing. I went on some dates that were, like, crazy dates. Like, you know what I mean? Like, horrible dates. And just meeting some crazy people and, like, shit to not fly off.
Were you looking for a girlfriend?
I don't know what I was looking for. I was like kind of looking to have fun, and then like I wasn't sure. Like I had been through some shit, so I was kind of like wasn't really looking for a relationship. But then yeah, like when I met Ida, I was just like our first date. I was just like, I want to be exclusive with you on
first
the first
date. You dropped that,
yeah, because I was just like, she just had me like, whoa. I was just like, damn. So gorgeous and so smart. And we had like a great conversation, and like it was pretty funny because on our first date I had like a fucked up cold sore or some shit on my lip.
Herpes.
I had herpes on my lip. That's true, I guess. And like, fuck. Have you ever had a cold sore?
You know, I don't think I have, honestly.
Never.
I've never had. Well, I don't have herpes.
For the people out there, I guess some people get it. You know, I don't know what it's from. You know, maybe.
But people like will always say that any cold sore is herpes. Which
that's fine.
That's not
Fuck
true,
it.
is it?
It just hurts to say, you know. All right,
Oh.
like no, I had herpes. No, I didn't. I think it was chill. Like I've had cold sores before, but like yeah, I guess they say it's all herpes, and it seems so negative. But I had a cold sore, and I wasn't sure if I should go. I was like, man, this girl's so fly. It was a Saturday night, and I'd finally hooked up to like have a date with her. She finally like was like, I'm down, and I was like, damn. I'm really doing things. Like this hot ass girl is gonna like go on a date with me. But then I had this cold sore. And I was like, fuck. And I was talking to my buddy, and he was like, do not go. You just can't go. You can't go to a first date with a fucking cold sore, right?
That sounds fair, honestly.
And so,
yeah.
but know what I thought? I was like, motherfucker. I was like, she's probably got like 1,000 guys talking to her on Tinder. And I was like, it's a Saturday night. And like a girl like this is going to get scooped up in LA so quick.
Yeah.
I just thought she was going to get scooped. You
and
know
if
what
she's
I mean?
giving you a Saturday night, that's kind of a big, like, especially if you really think, and I saw her in the video, she's very pretty, but if you really think she's that dope and she's giving you a Saturday night, I feel like if you fucking bail on her, there's a very good chance you're never getting that date again.
And whoever's stepping in there, if they get a Saturday night with her, I just felt like they were going to be like, girl, you are so amazing. And then they're going to go hard and they're going to do whatever. And I just feel like then she'd just be nabbed up from me and I wouldn't have a shot at her. So I went on the date with a fucking cold sore. I did it, bro.
Did she say anything about it?
She didn't even notice. It was crazy. And I think I even brought it up. I figured she noticed. I brought it up at the end of the date, and I kind of shared this same story. I thought it was funny. And then she thought it was hilarious. She was like, I didn't even notice. Like, I'm not even tripping about it.
I had a similar situation one time where I had 2 pimples right here. And
you had to go
fucking,
somewhere?
I like was, I popped them in the fucking mirror, but then they ended up being like big old fucking scab, like shared between the 2 of them, and it just looked fucking atrocious. And I was super fucking like insecure about like going out in public for like a week or like, talking to girls and stuff, and it was just.
I've totally done that where like I kind of had plans to maybe go out and like and then you just go in there and you just start fucking with your face, and then before you know it, you look in the mirror and you're like, I'm a monster.
No, for real. Because those two pimples, if I just let them dry out and didn't fucking feel the need to squeeze every last ounce of little fucking oil, then it would have been fine. But instead, it took a fucking week to heal. because
Yeah.
I fucking tortured myself trying to squeeze it all out. I don't know what I was thinking.
I think a lot of people they like to get that shit out of there.
My
that
girl
white
loves that. She loves to
Yeah.
just grab my face and just
Yeah.
start squeezing these pimples that I can't even see.
It's some kind of like there's probably some studies like where humans like it. Like a certain amount of the population enjoys it. I bet you like 50% or something high.
Yeah. I mean, I've always, my whole life, I've had girls that I was seeing or whatever just wanting to just like.
So it could be a number as high as 40, 50% that maybe like it. What would you think? You would say like 20.
I think there's an actual fetish for people who like to watch like cysts and like pimples being popped online.
I've seen this show, The Pimple Popper, and it's like fucking
There's a
crazy.
show. Wow.
It's like they take these crazy cysts, and it's like insane. They push it, and it's just like fucking a whole 2-3 cakes worth of just like cakey white, like crazy, like it's insane.
I remember when I used to do.
Don't eat while you watch the show. I suggest.
I was doing jujitsu and
Ate my
also, and I got staph infection in my nose, probably because I was putting a bunch of fucking cocaine in my nose. But, you know, I had this fucking staph infection inside my nose. I just remember standing in front of the fucking mirror, just squeezing ounces of goop out of it. It was so disgusting.
And you'll always remember that as like good times, probably. That's what's crazy about the world.
Everything else surrounding that, yeah. Probably, yeah.
The satisfaction sometimes when you fucking deal with a pimple, I guess. I guess I'm in the 50% that gets some kind of sick enjoyment out of it.
I like it too. If I had a big ass pimple on my forehead tomorrow, I would take great joy in popping it. Although, you know, it's not like I would make a fucking YouTube video about it.
Were you ever like in high school and like the dude sitting in front of you just had like a monster one on his neck, and you're just like, why? Why don't you just handle that? 2 butter knives, like just let me get in there and just like that thing. You know, it's just like wow. I don't know. I can't deal with that. The white shit build up. I gotta let it. I gotta let it loose. There might be a sickness attached, but I'm okay admitting I have it, and it's okay.
Right. Yeah, we should pop some zits sometime.
Yeah,
No,
bro. Good times.
No, I'm gonna tell you the grossest thing ever. I went to my friend's house when I was a kid. He had a knife near the toilet, and I was like, "What is that about?" He's like, "Oh, our plumbing sucks. Sometimes I have to cut the shit so it'll go down." I'm like, and you just leave it sitting there. What the fuck is wrong with you?
Oh my god!
I think
at least use scissors.
that was, I think, the moment.
And
that
I don't get
realized,
the knife part. Scissors would seem like the better because you just kind of like get the job done.
I mean, whatever you're gonna do, if you got to cut this turd in half, do not use a fucking something that you're gonna have to just keep next. I hate even the toilet brush
No, that's
or the plunger.
I know it's all just infected with just shittiness.
I never feel like I use the plunger once in a blue moon when I have to use the plunger, and then I run it underwater in the shower and stuff,
and then
like
it's like poopy on the on the
like,
bottom.
where do I put this?
And you got to clean the bottom, and you got to it's like it's hard to get all the poop away,
oh yeah, it's so weird. Like I don't know.
especially if you have a puppy. I haven't had a puppy in a long time, but puppies, man. Have you ever had a puppy?
I'm not like a dog person.
They just like literally shit nonstop. That's literally what a puppy is about.
That's pretty much why I
and
wouldn't
you see
have
people like holding up these little puppies, like so cute, but like that is a shitting machine you're holding.
Yeah. I used to hang out with this girl that was pretty cute, and we were having a good time, but she had this really annoying dog that she brought with her everywhere she went. And everyone loved this dog. Not me. I hate this dog. I stopped hanging out with her because of the dog. And
Not about that dog life.
I mean, the dog was peeing on me in my sleep and
Oh my
shit.
God.
Like we had this blanket. I wake up, the fucking
like
blanket's
you.
wet. I'm like, did I pee? I'm like, oh no, it was the fucking dog.
That was like a mating signal. It was like giving you a little taste, a little feeler.
And she would get mad because I would like lock the dog in the bathroom and then try to hook up with her.
Oh wow! And she was like, "Don't do that.
Yeah, but
Let
it's
her
like,
watch. Let her watch. It's okay."
you don't want me fucking you while this dog is on top of us. Rah, 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 rah. Like this is unnatural.
It's funny how dogs like they know that like sex is okay, but then like if you get in a fight with your girl, they're like in the corner just like this. But then like you could be having crazy sex and they're just like, like they know like you're having a good time or you're not. Like dogs have like it's interesting.
My girl and I this morning, I put my dick in her, and about 10 seconds later, the fucking cat just hops on top of us, and it's just like, "What's up?" Like it was so weird that he just decided he wanted to hang out. Like the second my penis went in,
You were just like, damn.
like,
Wait
"Get outta
till you
here."
have a baby, and then that's like you're about to have sex, and it's like, it's done. No, the sex is off. Sex is off.
That sounds like sex is off. That's
But
God.
You might be able to wait if she goes back to sleep.
Your baby,
you might have to wait a couple hours.
You still have a baby. Like you don't. It's not like mobile.
3 months.
Imagine when he can just walk up and walk into your room and say, "Hey, what the fuck are you guys doing?"
Oh yeah, I feel like sometimes like the newborns are kind of immobile almost, so you can trust that they'll just be like in this position. But yeah, like when they're older, like they pretty much have to be supervised like 24/7. Like you can't have a camera on like a 2-year-old. They're gonna run around and eat everything and bang their head. Like you got to be right there, like like looking out for them. Like you know what I mean?
You know what tripped me out? There's a kid who hangs out at the store all the time. This kid Pablo, who's like 14, and he got kicked out of his private school because somebody gave him a stolen phone. Like someone gave him a stolen phone, and then they tracked it to his house, and then he got kicked out of the school, even though he says that he didn't steal it.
They didn't believe him. They didn't believe his story,
I guess. But then anyway, so that kid, I was asking him, I'm like, so what's public school like compared to private school from your perspective? He's like, oh, it's crazy. He's like, there's a hallway where there's no cameras. I'm like, when I was in school, every hallway had no cameras. He's he's like, and I'm just thinking how different that is. Like when I got in trouble in school, it was like, oh, like this kid it was all he say, she say. Like he punched him. He
now
did
they're
this,
like,
whatever.
let's look at the tapes.
Exactly.
And you're just like,
yeah,
they got me. They got me.
I mean, that's one small section of life, but I think the same thing. Anytime I like see anything about rappers and violent shit, the first thing that comes to mind is like, there's cameras. There's got to be cameras. You're gonna get caught.
You think one day like there'll just be so many cameras on every street corner and everywhere, and they'll just like record everything, and it'll be like Big Brother crazy shit.
We're already super close to that, just in the sense that like, I mean, when bad, like with the Boston Marathon bomber, I remember when I was watching how they pieced that together. I mean, there's fucking cameras every single place in the whole fucking city. They're gonna be able to figure it out. Like, I mean, they got him in like a couple days or whatever.
Yeah, man.
That's just scary. I don't know why we're going in this like 1984 direction with this interview. I don't know if they needed this.
Rip Hitler.
Yeah, I just saw R.I.P. Hitler in the chat.
Jesus Christ. What is that about?
Shout out to you guys. I don't know, there's a couple weirdos.
You have a well-balanced audience.
That is true. Views. No, that is true because my audience is really not drawn along like partisan lines. So there's a lot of Trump lovers and Trump haters.
That's what's up.
This liberal.
Sometimes I get caught up with like fighting like Republicans and stuff. But then other days I'm sitting there smoking weed and I'm like, you know what? Maybe I should just be like super nice to everyone, you know what I mean? And like, because sometimes when you fight about politics, like neither side is going to change views. So sometimes, man, you don't always got to go crazy, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I don't really have it in me to spaz out on a Trump supporter at this point in my life.
I've done it in a way, but they kind of got me riled up in a way too. And then sometimes you get in that, especially like when they were locking up the kids, man.
Yeah,
that was like, and then I think at that time I was like just about to have a kid or whatever. And I was just like, it kind of like, it touched me, and I was just like so mad. And so then I had a guy in the poker room come in, and he was like, Trump's going to win the Nobel Peace Prize for what he's doing in Korea. And I was like, motherfucker, he's fucking doing this shit to kids and shit. And I was just like, went off, you know what I'm saying? Like, yeah.
Right.
But like, if you're going off all the time, it can be hard to function. It's better to just like vote, encourage people to vote, protest or whatever. But if you're just like sitting there arguing with just like one other person, sometimes you're not always achieving a whole lot. Like maybe in that time you could be like fighting for your cause in another way,
Yeah. I don't know.
Who knows?
I'm so just wiped out with arguing about politics. Not that I've even done it, but I just don't even want to take the first step of jumping into it because it's just so much to bite off.
It's a hot, fresh topic.
Especially right now, dude. Normally you could talk about politics and it'd be all right. Lately, it is just 100% toxic, poisonous gas. Anything I say about politics on Twitter is just,
you mean people? You're gonna make half the people mad, whatever you say, kind of thing.
Yeah, it's very much that feeling of like, damn, I just don't want to jump out the window. All right, yo, we got to wrap this up because I have to piss like a goddamn racehorse. I appreciate you, bro. Let's play some fucking CAD soon.
What about, can we put one little beat on or something?
Oh, yeah, totally. But we're going to have to end the interview, and then we'll do that as like a separate clip on stream.
That'd be dope.
So everybody, I'm going to go take this piss. Then we're going to come back, and we're going to do a little freestyle session, check out some of his music, then play all your music. Be right back.
I'm just chilling with Adam, yeah, I'm just just chilling with Adam. I'm just chilling with Adam. Look, that's the whole skedaddle. I'm just chilling with Adam.